this GLP and PMP business. We all are Jamaican.
Different people.
It's not a matter of a JLP or a PMP. I think it's more like where it is that you think you're comfortable, what support you can afford to make the country better.
Different views.
Most entertainers, they're not amenable to management, so the only thing that can ultimately structure them is the court and the prison.
Public opinion. The voice of the people at 6:25 p.m. weekdays during Nationwide at 5. Tune into Nationwide.
Starting a renovation project? Start right. Start here at H&L Rapid True Value for all your essentials at our 10 stores island-wide. The time by H&L Rapid True Value is
Nationwide time, 5 o'clock.
Crisp and refreshing. Room temperature or chilled. A pure water would drink. The temperature by Pure Water is
33 degrees Celsius in Kingston, 31 out west in Montego Bay.
From the Nationwide News Network, comprehensive, incisive, tough. This is Nationwide at 5.
Good afternoon, I'm Ricardo Brooks.
And I'm Roby-Ann Williams.
In Nationwide News at this hour, not done but nearing completion.
That's how the Integrity Commission is describing its effort to certify the statutory declarations of Prime Minister Andrew Holness.
And the Commission says 61 public officials have been referred to it over allegations of illicit enrichment over the last 6 years.
Prime Minister Andrew Holness announces emergency relief program REACH to respond to the immediate needs of Jamaicans impacted by Hurricane Beryl.
The major elements will include the distribution of food and essential supplies, utility, water, electricity, housing and reconstruction support, and economic recovery and restoration of livelihood.
And the Prime Minister says more than $10 billion worth of damage has been done to the country's roads.
In news from the rest of the world, Caribbean Development Bank executives visit St. Vincent and the Grenadines to accelerate Hurricane Beryl recovery efforts.
Beryl kills 8 people in Texas and cuts power for millions.
In headline sports, injury scare for Sharika Jackson in Hungary as Kishane Thompson wins men's 100 meters.
And later in our broadcast, in the cover story at 5:35, the Integrity Commission says it's nearing completion of the processes related to certifying the statutory declarations of the Prime Minister. You'll hear more.
In public opinion at 6:26, we ask, what's your reaction to Sharika Jackson's injury at a meeting in Hungary? Give us your comments by logging on to our Facebook page, Nationwide News Network, and by tweeting us at Nationwide Radio, and message us on WhatsApp at 876-285-5693. You can also leave your comments on Instagram at Nationwide 90FM.
At 8, it's Prescription for Life with Dr. Andre MacDonald.
And at 9 p.m., it's Affairs of the Heart with Rodney Campbell. Tonight's topic, can men and women be just friends?
All these and more as we take you home on air on your mobile, Nationwide 90FM, nationwideradiojm.com, and on the Nationwide app, available on the Google Play and the App Store. This Tuesday afternoon, it's Tuesday, July 9, 2024.
News at 5 is brought to you by the new Cheetah Zinger from KFC. Topped with marinara sauce, mozzarella cheese, and pepperoni. Available for a limited time only. KFC, it's finger licking good.
If it's news, it's got to be Nationwide 90 FM.
Now to the details. The Integrity Commission says it is nearing completion of the process to certify the statutory declarations of Prime Minister Andrew Holness. The statement is contained in the Commission's 2023-24 annual report. Nationwide News has seen excerpts of the report. The indication is the clearest yet from the anti-corruption watchdog that it's nearing the point where it can make a definitive statement on the financial filings of the Prime Minister. Ricardo Brooks has been going through the Integrity Commission's report.
It's been nearly 3 years since the Integrity Commission last certified statutory declarations from Jamaica's Prime Minister. During that time, much of the public debate surrounding Holness's statutory declarations has been shrouded in innuendo, speculation, and in some instances, outright lies. The opposition PMP has been hammering Holness over the matter. On Tuesday, the only body in the country empowered to make a definitive comment on the matter broke its silence. Well, partially. The Integrity Commission, in its annual report, says its processes are nearing completion with respect to the Prime Minister's declarations. Importantly, Prime Minister Andrew Holness is not the only legislator whose statutory declarations have not been certified. The Commission revealed that 35 of the declarations filed by the 63 members of Parliament are work-in-progress examinations. 32 declarations of senators bear a similar designation. These declarations are for the 6-year period beginning April 2018 and ending March 2024. The Commission's chairman, retired Justice Seymour Panton, says while much has been said and written about the non-certification of Holness's declarations, the public must be reminded that the Director of Information and Complaints must make such inquiries as considered necessary to determine the accuracy of the declarations filed. It would appear that the process of determining the accuracy of the filings may be causing some of the delay. Prime Minister Andrew Holness told our news centre on Monday that he had written to the Commission more than once regarding his declarations.
They have written to me, I've written back to them, and it is still a matter for the Integrity Commission. Like you, I too am anxious to have this matter resolved.
But what is the nature of the issue that you keep having to respond about?
The general issue of the Integrity Commission is that they do an entire audit on your financials and your personal finances, and for me, going back several years. And that takes time because it is just not my response alone that they have to await. They have to await the responses of several other agencies, entities. It's a very detailed process. And I don't want to comment on it too much because the nature of the process is that the Integrity Commission is the entity that really should give the final disclosure and approval.
Mr. Holness has acknowledged that he has been losing political capital over the non-certification of his declarations. But he says, though the prolonged process of non-certification may seem unfair to him, he will not complain.
One of those things you deal with politically. As I said, it is the process, and I have followed the process as best as I can, and I can only await the Integrity Commission. I am in an invidious position because I am the one that has to ensure that the law is respected, and therefore you will never hear me make any complaint. Even if I feel it has been unfair and unduly so to me, you will never hear me complain.
Whether the Commission's brief statement on the state of Holness's declarations will quell public debate is to be seen. Ricardo Brooks for Nationwide News.
And the Integrity Commission says a total of 61 public officials have been referred to it over a 6-year period over allegations of illicit enrichment or filing false information. The figure is contained in the Commission's annual report. Norgay Banton tells us more.
There's hardly a Jamaican who has not heard of the so-called Illicit Six. It's purportedly a group of 6 unnamed members of Parliament who are being investigated by the Integrity Commission for having acquired wealth through illicit means. But by the Integrity Commission's own report, that 6 is closer to 60. 61 public officials, to be specific. The Commission says between April 2018 and March 2024, 13 members of Parliament have been referred to it for illicit enrichment or filing false information. Those MPs are not named by the Commission. No member of the Senate has been referred to the Commission over the 6-year period for illicit enrichment. But legislators are not the only public officials being scrutinized for ill-gotten wealth. The Commission says over the period, 2 councillors and a permanent secretary have been on its radar for ill-gotten gains. Again, the individuals are not named. 5 heads of entities, 40 other public officials are also highlighted as being referred over the period. That totals 61 referrals for illicit enrichment and filing false information. The Commission does not specify which officials fall into the category of other public officials. The anti-corruption watchdog has a caution for members of the public. It says it has no control over the numerous complaints and allegations it receives. It says it has a duty to investigate them and make note of its allegations. But importantly, the Commission says the fact that it launches an investigation is not in and of itself remarkable. In fact, the Commission's chairman, retired Justice Seymour Panton, specifically highlights that allegations of crimes sent to the police are sometimes investigated and found to be without merit. Justice Panton says the Commission has no control over speculations, rumors, or mischief-making in society. The question then is the controversy over the illicit six all sound and no fury? That's to be seen. Nora Gay Banton for Nationwide News.
Prime Minister Andrew Holness has announced the Relief Emergency Assistance and Community Help REACH program to respond to the immediate needs of Jamaicans in the aftermath of Hurricane Beryl. The Prime Minister made the announcement in the House of Representatives this afternoon.
So as we move forward, our focus is on comprehensive relief efforts designed to provide immediate assistance and lay the groundwork for long-term recovery and resilience. Madam Speaker, today I am announcing the Relief Emergency Assistance and Community Help REACH program. The major elements of the REACH program will include the distribution of food and essential supplies, utility, water, electricity, and telecommunications restoration, housing and reconstruction support, and economic recovery and restoration of livelihood.
As part of the program, care packages have already been distributed, providing enough food for a family of 4 for 4 days through the Ministry of Labour and Social Security. The Prime Minister says approximately 5,000 such packages have been distributed to the most heavily impacted areas. Mr. Holness also announced an additional $4 million to each constituency to assist with Beryl recovery. This is in addition to the $5 million provided to MPs before the hurricane.
We are in that state where we have to respond, but it is important that it is on the record that this is not how, in an ideal world, it should be run. Madam Speaker, we are therefore making an additional allocation, given the demands and the need. 2 constituencies. Again, the same modality. It will go through the CDF, and this is $4 million per constituency to assist in the recovery effort. There are some conditions, as with the first. You must complete the expenditure of the first allocation.
Prime Minister Andrew Holness. He told the Parliament the most heavily impacted constituencies will also receive an additional $3 million.
Meanwhile, Prime Minister Holness says over $10 billion worth of damage has been done to the country's roads. This is based on a preliminary assessment conducted by the National Works Agency, NWA.
In terms of infrastructure, our roads, bridges, and essential public facilities have sustained severe damage. The country's road network has been significantly affected. The NWA's preliminary assessment to our main road network totals 10.25 billion Jamaican dollars. There are approximately 25,000 kilometers of roads that connect the country. 5,000 kilometers are main roads, while the remaining 20,000 kilometers are parochial roads. While the data and information are still being collected in the field, the preliminary assessment is that over 500 parochial roads have been affected in various degrees.
And Mr. Holness says nearly $2 billion worth of damage was done to the country's healthcare infrastructure.
The destruction of infrastructure has disrupted access to critical services, including healthcare. Approximately 38% of our public hospitals sustained damage, including major infrastructural damage, mainly roof damage, requiring relocation of patients. A detailed report, including infrastructure damage to the health facilities of the country, was compiled with the total estimated cost to repair those damage reported to be in excess of 1.8 billion Jamaican dollars.
Prime Minister Andrew Holness.
President of the Jamaica Agricultural Society, the JAS, Lenworth Fulton, says it will take an estimated $1 billion for the farming community in St. Elizabeth to recover from the impact of Hurricane Beryl. He says the farmers will have to replace lost irrigation lines, equipment, among other things.
I can't see anything under $750 to $1 billion. with all the infrastructure. They have a lot of the shade houses down there. They have lost. It takes you roughly 400,000 to 500,000 to buy irrigation hose per an acre of land. These are all washed out, and so farmers will have to go back to buy these because the National Irrigation Commission will take the water to your farm, and you will have to find the equipment and the hoses and so on to move it throughout your farm. So it's a major setback. It will take a lot of money. Remember, the farm roads, the access roads are all still underwater now.
Lenworth Fulton, the president of the Jamaica Agricultural Society, the JAS. You're listening to the news on Nationwide at 5. We'll have more after these.
Value Drug Pharmacy offers curbside pickup and delivery of your branded and generic drugs. WhatsApp your prescription to 876-881-6695. The time by Value Drug Pharmacy is...
It's 15 minutes after 5.
Rent-to-Kill Initial offers air purification solutions with triple filtration and unique auto-sensing capabilities that neutralizes malodor and replaces it with clean air. Call Rent-to-Kill Initial at 926-4236 for more details.
The temperature by Rent-to-Kill is
33 degrees Celsius in Kingston, 31 out west in Montego Bay. Continuing the news, $797 million. That's how much Education Minister Favour Williams says are the preliminary estimate of the damage to the country's schools by Hurricane Beryl last week. Mahiri Stewart has that story.
Pictures have circulated on social media showing the extent of the damage done to some of Jamaica's schools last Wednesday by Beryl. Traditional high schools such as Monroe College in St. Elizabeth and Manning's School in Westmoreland could be seen with roofs blown off and extensive damage to windows and classrooms. Speaking with Nationwide News on Monday, Education Minister Favour Williams says the preliminary cost for the damage done to schools exceeds $700 million.
So far, in terms of the assessment of the damage, and remember this is still preliminary, the number that we have is some $797 million for these 100 schools. And the information that we have suggests that, or is telling us that, the majority of this cost are for schools in St. Anne and Trelawney. Right, we don't have every single parish just yet, but the preliminary data that we have so far suggests that. I would imagine that in the few days ahead, as more roads are cleared, we will get more fulsome information, and this dollar figure will be increased as well as the number of schools.
Minister Williams says 100 schools have suffered damage from the hurricane.
Right, so you're correct in terms of the window of time that we have between now and when schools come back in session for the new school year. So we have been able to put out all our building officers out there across the region, some 18 of them, a civil engineer, and 4 quantity surveyors to help us to do the rapid assessment of the schools. As of today, we've gotten reports that 100 schools have been damaged because of Hurricane Beryl. We're also organizing for welfare and psychosocial support. Children need to understand the hurricane that they've been through.
The Education Minister stressed the importance of the ministry's goal to provide psychosocial support for students affected by Beryl's passing.
We're concerned for all Jamaicans to begin with, but specifically for our students, our children all across Jamaica, who, for some of them, they're experiencing this for the first time, and they're seeing breakaways, they're hearing, they're experiencing not having electricity in some homes, not having water in some, and so forth. So that's why I mentioned that we have to organize ourselves now, not just for welfare support, but for psychosocial support as well, not just for the students, but for our teachers and other persons in the education sector.
Mahiri Stewart for Nationwide News.
And the National Water Commission, the NWC, says water has been restored to more than 60% of customers who lost the commodity due to Hurricane Beryl. Acting Corporate Public Relations Manager at the NWC, Delano Williams, provided the update on Cliff Hughes Online on Tuesday. Here's more from Shalois Michael.
Approximately 70% of NWC customers have been without water since the passage of Hurricane Beryl last Wednesday. Mr. Williams says several water supply facilities were compromised due to high turbidity.
Typically, once you have a lot of heavy rain, it means that the rivers are flooded. It gets very muddy in places, and in some cases, it also brings a lot of debris with it. If these get into our intake, it sometimes blocks them up. We're also forced to shut down our operations to ensure that that water does not get to our customers and also to contaminate the pipeline. We have to clear, sterilize, and then restart. So a number of these systems would have been closed.
Mr. Williams says water has been restored to more than half of the affected customers. But he says while restoration work continues, some customers may have to wait a few more weeks before the commodity is fully restored in their neck of the woods.
We're 60% and counting, and I want to stress the counting because as we see, for instance, the Bybrook and Tullow Spring facilities, which carry another 11 to 12 million gallons of water, should be restored today. And that means a number of areas in Portmore, the environs of Spanish Town, and also the western side of Kingston should see some improvement in the next 24 to 36 hours. It's going to be a paced work. I suspect we may be looking at a couple weeks, but some of it will be reliant on the national power grid. Others will mean how quickly we are able to get to the plant.
Mr. Williams says the NWC will be installing generator systems and providing trucked water to severely affected parishes until operations can be fully restored.
Where we can't have formal power supply, we will be installing backup generator systems at the location. Those will take some time to transfer, set up, and to get the systems running. So we're having to do trucking, for instance, to a number of the critical institutions in Mandeville and also in St. Elizabeth.
Shalois Michael for Nationwide News.
World in a Minute is brought to you by ABC Electrical Sales. We make things as easy as ABC. Hose assembly and supply, equipping Jamaica for success.
And Charles O'Connor Consulting Network, COCN, driven by international accounting standards, modern technology, and integrity.
The World in a Minute. A team from the Caribbean Development Bank, CDB, is touring St. Vincent and the Grenadines to assess the impact of Hurricane Beryl and offer initial support for response and recovery efforts. The team, headed by Acting President Isaac Solomon, has met with the Prime Minister Dr. Ralph Gonsalves and key government officials in Kingstown. Prime Minister Gonsalves provided a detailed update on the destruction throughout the country, particularly on Union Island, Canwan, and Mairu in the Grenadines. He pointed out that the severe impact on housing, agriculture, education, and energy supply, and the widespread dislocation of communities and households. He shared initial estimates of the number of citizens affected, indicating the social and economic challenges ahead and emphasizing the need for psychosocial support. In response, Mr. Solomon outlined immediate actions CDB will take to alleviate the hurricane's effects on citizens and vital institutions, including a support package. The CDB team also visited several communities on Union Island and Canwan. The CDB delegation is also set to travel to Grenada on a similar mission.
In the United States, Hurricane Beryl has killed at least 8 people. The storm slammed into southeast Texas and Louisiana on Monday as a Category 1 hurricane. Officials say 7 people died in Texas's Harris and Montgomery counties, while 1 more fatality was confirmed in neighboring Louisiana. The storm earlier caused major destruction in the Caribbean, where it killed at least 10 people. Beryl has now been downgraded to a tropical depression as it moves inland in Texas and Louisiana. It also knocked out power for nearly 3 million people. Some 2.3 million customers in Texas were without power as of Tuesday morning. Power outages have also been reported in Louisiana and Arkansas.
World in a Minute was brought to you by ABC Electrical Sales. We make things as easy as ABC. Hose assembly and supply, equipping Jamaica for success.
And Charles O'Connor Consulting Network, COCN, driven by international accounting standards, modern technology and integrity.
Recapping the top stories making nationwide news at this hour. Not done, but nearing completion.
That's how the Integrity Commission is describing its effort to certify the statutory declarations of Prime Minister Andrew Holness.
And the Commission says 61 public officials have been referred to it over allegations of illicit enrichment over the last 6 years.
Prime Minister Andrew Holness announces emergency relief program, REACH, to respond to the immediate needs of Jamaicans impacted by Hurricane Beryl.
I'm Ricardo Brooks.
And I'm Robianne Williams.
And listeners, you can find the news on our website at nationwideradiojm.com and on the Nationwide app, available on the Google Play and the App Store. News next, the headlines at 6.
News at 5 was brought to you by the new Pizza Zinger from KFC. Topped with marinara sauce, mozzarella cheese, and pepperoni. Available for a limited time only. KFC, it's finger licking good.
My name is Dujan. I come from Appleton Basic School. My Olympic hero is Usain Bolt.
Away cleanly, Bolt has got a very good start indeed.
One of my mottos is that, anything is possible. Don't think limits on that. And I feel that I've proven that through the years. I never thought I would be this great at what I've done. But I want to say to the young kids growing up, just live your dream, work hard, stay focused, and just be strong and just keep on pushing and it will come true. So thank you.
Watch the clock, it's goal for Bolt, and again, he's done it again, a new world record for Usain Bolt.
Stay tuned to the Paris Olympic at Nationwide 90 FM.
Hello, good afternoon, and welcome to Sports here on Nationwide 90 FM. I'm Wayne Walker. Jamaica's 200 meters world champion Sherika Jackson had an injury scare in Hungary today after pulling up in her pet event at the Istvan July Memorial, a World Continental Gold meeting. Jackson, who turns 30 next week, was leading and seemingly cruising to victory, but pulled up just about 25 meters from the finish. Jackson was able to walk off the track even as medics ran over to help. The nature of the injury is still not known. Meanwhile, Kishane Thompson was back in action and impressively won the men's 100 meters in 9.91 seconds, beating Letsil Tebogo of Botswana into second in a season's best 9.99 and Akani Simbinyo of South Africa third, 10.11.
They are away this time. Good start from Tobacco, good start from Thompson. And there goes Kishane Thompson. Kishane Thompson showing all his form here. Can Tobacco go with him? Shane Thompson looks right, looks left, shuts it down. 9.91. He is the real deal.
Former national champion Rohan Watson was fourth in 10.15 and Michael Campbell seventh, 10.28. Tia Clayton was second in the women's equivalent in 11.06 seconds. Crystal Slowly third, 11.15, and Natasha Morrison 11.19. Tina Clayton was eighth in 11.52. Tamara Dixon Davis of the USA won in 11 seconds flat. Sean Bailey ran a season's best 44.64 seconds to finish second in the men's 400 meters. This behind the Olympic champion from the Bahamas, Stephen Gardner, 44.50. 2019 world champion Tijay Gale did 7 meters 76 for ninth in the men's long jump, which was won by the world champion Militidas Tenteglu, 8 meters 23. Akila Smith was second in the women's long jump. She did 6 meters 83. Colombia's Natalia Denares won with 6 meters 87. Former national 200 meters champion Andrew Hudson was second in the men's event in 20.37. The Olympic champion out of Canada, Andre de Grasse, he won with 19.98 seconds. Opener Mikhail Louise is set to make his Test debut as the West Indies takes on England in the first Test at Lord's starting at 5 o'clock tomorrow morning Jamaica time. The 23-year-old Louise forced his way into the West Indies team after impressing in this season's regional 4-day tournament with 682 runs from 7 games at an average of 48.71. He'll become the first player from St. Kitts and Nevis to wear the maroon. Captain of the team, Craig Brathwaite, with whom Louise will be opening, says other youth players should use Louise's achievements as motivation.
Last season gone, obviously he did extremely well with the bat. He batted long as well. He batted some long periods. He showed a lot of fight. He puts away the ball when it's a bad ball. He's a nice guy, very joyful spirit, and I know he'll do extremely well. Playing international cricket, for many years. But my advice to all the young boys in the group and like Mikhail making his debut is don't just aspire to play for West Indies first competition, be the first to score 30 hundreds. You got to think big, don't think too small, and I think he'll do extremely well.
Meanwhile, former captain Jason Holder returns to Test cricket for the first time in over a year, and he walks straight into the 11. His successor says the lanky all-rounder is an asset to the team. Jason
obviously has a lot of experience, and it's always good to have him in the group. A lot of younger guys look up to him, and he always is there to offer advice. So it's great to have him, and I know he'll be looking forward to leading from the front with this young group as well.
Craig Brathwaite, the rest of the 11 reads Kirk McKenzie, Alec Athanaze, Kevin Hodge, Joshua De Silva, Alzari Joseph, Gudakesh Moti, Shamar Joseph, and Jaden Seals. 3-time champion Spain are through to the final of the 2024 European Football Championship after coming from behind to beat France 2-1 in the semi-final game at the Allianz Arena in Munich today. Randall Colomwani headed the French into an 8th-minute lead, but the brilliant 16-year-old Lamine Yamal, he drew Spain level, becoming the youngest scorer ever in the Euro history with a stunning 21st-minute equalizer. And then Dani Olmo scored what turned out to be the winner 4 minutes later.
Picking it out towards Mbappe, some suspicion of handball, and that's a brilliant start for France. Colomwani, Ali Les Bleus is the cry, and what a goal that was! Lamine Yamal, you're looking at the youngest ever scorer at the Euros. Dani Olmo, instant control, can he put it away? It's gone in! Off Jules Koundé, it's been turned on its head. Spain hit the front.
Spain's opponent in Sunday's final will be decided tomorrow when England clash with the Netherlands at the Signal Iduna Park, home of Bundesliga giants Borussia Dortmund. And we close with the nationwide Olympic fact. It's sponsored by Fontana Pharmacy.
This is Nationwide's Olympic Facts, brought to you by Fontana Pharmacy. It's all good inside.
Did you know that only one of the 88 medals won by Jamaican athletes in Olympic history has come outside track and field? Yes, that's a fact. At 23 years old, David Weller won bronze in the men's 1 kilometer cycling time trial at the 1980 Games in Moscow.
That was Nationwide's Olympic Facts, brought to you by Fontana Pharmacy. It's all good inside.
And another piece of Olympic fact. The Olympic Games get underway in 17 days' time in Paris with the opening ceremony. Stick and stay with Nationwide, the official radio broadcasters of the Games here in Jamaica. That's sports. We're going to be back with more at 6:05 this evening.
Presenting another finalist in the 2024 Jamaica Festival Song Competition.
This is Lorenza Rowe, otherwise known as Renza. The title of my song is Wamba Jamaica.
Wami, wami, wamba Jamaica. Gimme, 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 gimme back Jamaica. I mean, I want too much foreign culture. No for them I come in like a vulture. Wami, wami, wamba Jamaica.
Jamaica Festival 2024.
I stay locked to the Olympics because, of course, I'm Jamaican. What you mean?
Me, I have to tune into the Olympics, man. Because I'm always busy, but what? I have to know when Sherika Jackson beat Shakari.
Brother, I have to have every notification for the Olympics.
I want to hear every run.
Now Sharika Jackson coming
every jump.
Oh, that is absolutely huge of Wade Pinkham.
And every fling live.
So, take us then.
Nothing can miss me.
We're always on the move.
So while we're driving, run, Elaine, run.
Jogging. Yes. Run, Watson. Win again.
Watson is now a world champion.
Or even at work.
Quick. The race has started.
We can't miss a beat because we keep it locked
To the only station.
for the Paris Olympics.
Nationwide.
Nationwide. Nationwide.
Nationwide.
90 FM.
Nationwide 90.1, 90.3, 90.5, 90.7 and 90.9 and on YouTube at Nationwide 90 FM Live. Nationwide, the new revolution in media.
Cover Story is brought to you by Hyundai. Modern, premium, affordable vehicles.
Good afternoon, good afternoon. Thank you so much for joining us here nationwide at 5. I'm Cliff Hughes.
Good afternoon, listeners. Good afternoon to you, Cliff. I'm Ricardo Brooks.
Ricardo.
How are you?
I'm all right.
Good.
Well, we're going to begin in the House of Representatives. The House is meeting a busy schedule. The Prime Minister gave an update and announced another program to help in the Hurricane Beryl relief effort. And the big item we have been watching in the media is the tabling of the Integrity Commission's annual report. Well, has it been tabled yet?
Not yet. According to the agenda of the House, we're still at the portion of the sitting called Statements by Ministers. As you just said, the Prime Minister making a statement on Hurricane Beryl. I believe before I just came into the studio, he was being questioned by his fellow lawmakers. And we expect after that, then we'll get to the point of the tabling of the report.
Okay, so it is to be tabled. We don't know if they'll actually get around to tabling it, but we, being enterprising journalists, we were able to see excerpts of the report, and that is what we're going to be leading with in our cover story this afternoon, because the Commission in that report to be tabled says, quote, it is nearing completion of the process to certify the statutory declarations of Prime Minister Andrew Holness. That's what they said in the report. We have seen excerpts of the report, and this is the clearest yet indication from the Integrity Commission that it is at a point, nearing, that's a critical word.
Yes.
Nearing the point where it can make a definitive statement on the filings of the Prime Minister. This has been a very, very hot political and controversial issue, frankly. The opposition has been hammering the Prime Minister and the government over the failure of the Integrity Commission to certify his reports going nearly 3 years now.
Nearly 3 years. This year would make it 3 years.
Which is very untenable. So, Ricardo Brooks has been going through those excerpts of the report we have been able to put our hands on.
It's been nearly 3 years since the Integrity Commission last certified statutory declarations from Jamaica's Prime Minister. During that time, much of the public debate surrounding Holness's statutory declarations has been shrouded in innuendo, speculation, and in some instances, outright lies. The opposition PMP has been hammering Holness over the matter. On Tuesday, the only body in the country empowered to make a definitive comment on the matter broke its silence. Well, partially. The Integrity Commission, in its annual report, says its processes are nearing completion with respect to the Prime Minister's declarations. Importantly, Prime Minister Andrew Holness is not the only legislator whose statutory declarations have not been certified. The Commission revealed that 35 of the declarations filed by the 63 members of Parliament are work-in-progress examinations. 32 declarations of senators bear a similar designation. These declarations are for the 6-year period beginning April 2018 and ending March 2024. The Commission's chairman, retired Justice Seymour Panton, says while much has been said and written about the non-certification of Holness's declarations, the public must be reminded that the Director of Information and Complaints must make such inquiries as considered necessary to determine the accuracy of the declarations filed. It would appear that the process of determining the accuracy of the filings may be causing some of the delay. Prime Minister Andrew Holness told our news centre on Monday that he had written to the Commission more than once regarding his declarations.
They have written to me, I've written back to them, and it is still a matter for the Integrity Commission. Like you, I too am anxious to have this matter resolved.
But what is the nature of the issue that you keep having to respond about?
The general issue of the Integrity Commission is that they do an entire audit on your financials and your personal finances, and for me, going back several years. And that takes time because it is just not my response alone that they have to await. They have to await the responses of several other agencies, entities. It's a very detailed process. And I don't want to comment on it too much because the nature of the process is that the Integrity Commission is the entity that really should give the final disclosure and approval.
Mr. Holness has acknowledged that he has been losing political capital over the non-certification of his declarations. But he says, though the prolonged process of non-certification may seem unfair to him, he will not complain.
One of those things you deal with politically. As I said, it is the process, and I have followed the process as best as I can, and I can only await the Integrity Commission. I am in an invidious position because I am the one that has to ensure that the law is respected, and therefore you will never hear me make any complaint. Even if I feel it has been unfair and unduly so to me, you will never hear me complain.
Whether the Commission's brief statement on the state of Holness's declarations will quell public debate is to be seen. Ricardo Brooks for Nationwide News.
Thank you, Ricardo. So let's step back for a moment. We heard about the so-called illicit six, and of course, in that mix, the Prime Minister's declarations not being certified.
Yes.
And this is the one that has really, what's the word? Look bad.
Yes. Occupied public attention.
Yes.
And debate.
Because it is frankly unacceptable, untenable for the head of government to have running 2-3 years now his declarations not being certified.
No two ways about that. And I want to draw the listeners' attention, Cliff, to a particular aspect of the report where the chairman says, it must be remembered that to satisfy himself, and he's speaking here about the Director of Information and Complaints, to satisfy himself of the due completion of a statutory declaration, the Director shall make such inquiries as he considers necessary. The inquiries are aimed at determining accuracy. Mm-hmm. So herein, the chairman seems to be suggesting that, look, this is part of the process. We've been given information, and based on what the Act requires, the Director of Information and Complaints must satisfy himself that the information given is accurate. Mm-hmm. The chairman goes on to reference obstacles, and he mentions that at least in one instance, the Commission has had to turn to the courts to get financial institutions to comply with requests for information.
Yes.
The way this flows to me suggests that Seymour Panton is telling us that it's not as clear-cut in certifying a declaration as we would expect or want it to be, and that they're doing their due diligence to ensure that
they
this
get
is
it right.
Right. Now, juxtapose that to what the Prime Minister told us just here yesterday, that they have written to him, he has written back, and it's a detailed process, and he did say yesterday, going back some years. And they have to make sure, according to Seymour Panton here, that they satisfy themselves that the information is accurate.
Mm-hmm. So, you know, these things do not necessarily flow as we would love them to flow.
Right.
From a public perspective.
Yes.
Yes, it's not an easy 1, 2, 3 when you have several institutions confirmed.
Mm-hmm.
As you just pointed out, they've had to go to court.
Yeah, right, to get information. and you should understand that. I mean, a financial institution would not readily, without judicial guidance, want to hand over financial records of a client.
Yeah.
So, and not to say that that refers specifically to the Prime Minister.
We don't know.
We don't. But I just think it instructive
Mm-hmm.
that the chairman raises this, he says, as obstacles
Yes.
to the commission.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. We're up on the break. Yeah?
So the key takeaway from this, before we go on, yes, these are the words of the Integrity Commission. Given the restrictions imposed by the Act as regards statutory declarations generally and matters related thereto, I may only say, I being the chairman of the commission,
yes,
retired Justice Seymour Panton, that the processes of the commission are nearing completion in respect of the Prime Minister's declarations.
Yes.
That's the key sentence.
Indeed.
Right? We're going to take a break. After the break, we also learned today that the Integrity Commission has a heavy backlog. Yes? Thousands of declarations and returns filed. But they are struggling, as was revealed in the Parliament
at one of
yes.
the sittings.
Yeah,
But it raises a genuine question as to whether, as it is now, the commission is fit for purpose.
Yes, after the break.
You can still go through quicker and cheaper with a T-tag under the new toll rate structure. Effective July 6, there will be some changes to the toll rates at the Portmore, Spanish Town, Vineyards and Maypen toll plazas. But don't worry, with a T-tag, all Class 1 and Class 2 customers will enjoy discounted rates for every single passage. Plus, your 10th weekly trip through the same toll plaza is free. Visit transjamhighways.com for details. Get your T-tag today from any Highway 2000 East-West manual toll booth.
14 minutes going up to 6 o'clock on a busy Tuesday afternoon for the House of Representatives. We have been able to put our hands on excerpts, extensive excerpts from the Integrity Commission's annual report that is scheduled to be tabled in the House today. They have not yet tabled the report. Yes, we prepared our reporting and we're sharing that reporting with you.
Yes. Another part of the report that we've been able to lay our hands on relates to statutory declarations examined and the outcomes of those examinations. Here's Norgay Banton's report.
There's hardly a Jamaican who has not heard of the so-called Illicit Six. It's purportedly a group of 6 unnamed members of Parliament who are being investigated by the Integrity Commission for having acquired wealth through illicit means. But by the Integrity Commission's own report, that 6 is closer to 60. 61 public officials, to be specific. The Commission says between April 2018 and March 2024, 13 members of Parliament have been referred to it for illicit enrichment or filing false information. Those MPs are not named by the Commission. No member of the Senate has been referred to the Commission over the 6-year period for illicit enrichment. But legislators are not the only public officials being scrutinized for ill-gotten wealth. The Commission says over the period, 2 councillors and a permanent secretary have been on its radar for ill-gotten gains. Again, the individuals are not named. 5 heads of entities, 40 other public officials are also highlighted as being referred over the period. That totals 61 referrals for illicit enrichment and filing false information. The Commission does not specify which officials fall into the category of other public officials. The anti-corruption watchdog has a caution for members of the public. It says it has no control over the numerous complaints and allegations it receives. It says it has a duty to investigate them and make note of its allegations. But importantly, The Commission says the fact that it launches an investigation is not in and of itself remarkable. In fact, the Commission's chairman, retired Justice Seymour Panton, specifically highlights that allegations of crimes sent to the police are sometimes investigated and found to be without merit. Justice Panton says the Commission has no control over speculations, rumors, or mischief-making in society. The question then is the controversy over the illicit six all sound and no fury? That's to be seen. Nora Gay Banton for Nationwide News.
Thank you, Nora. Here again, Ricardo, we have some explaining to do.
Yes.
First of all, get the timeline right. What the report says. These declarations being examined, yes, are for a 6-year period. April 1, 2018 to March 31 this year.
Right.
So it's over 6 years.
Right.
Yeah? April 1, 2018 to March 31, 2024.
Right.
So get that clear first, listeners. The other thing that we need to note, it specifies a breakdown, and we should repeat those numbers.
Sure.
Members of Parliament, number of members of Parliament who have been referred to the Director of Investigation for illicit enrichment and
or false information.
13 in total.
Yes, over that 6-year period.
Over the 6-year period.
No member of the Senate has been referred for that offense.
Only 2 councillors have been so referred.
1 permanent secretary.
5 heads of entities.
40 other public officials. And here I would love a breakdown of this. Other public officials.
Mm-hmm.
Are we talking about judges? Who are we talking about in this other public officials? I imagine doctors maybe. I know some of doctors have to file declarations. But this matter came up because at a recent sitting, because the Commission was essentially saying it's facing a backlog and it's unable to manage. And the numbers bear it out. Because, Cliff, if I could just take you to that column over here. The number of statutory declarations received, the first column.
Let's go down.
Right.
From members of Parliament?
416.
Members of the Senate? 133.
Councillors, 1,149.
Permanent secretaries, 115.
Heads of entities, 935.
Other public officials, 162,744, making for a grand total of 165,492 over the 6-year period.
But here, listeners, is where it gets interesting. Of the 416 statutory declarations received from members of Parliament, the Integrity Commission has only been able to examine 278 of that number.
That's, by my math, 66%.
And then, of that number, has only been able to certify 168.
Yes. So that's less than 50%. Yes?
Members of the Senate, 133 declarations received. They've only examined 96 of those declarations.
By my math, 72%.
And they've only certified 63 of those declarations over the 6-year period.
That's about, just about...
Notice I'm leaving the math to you.
Yeah, about 40-45%.
Councillors, far worse. 1,149 declarations received. They've only examined 72.
That is 6%. Only 6% of the declarations from councillors have been examined.
And they've only certified 45.
45, so that is about 5% they've certified.
Remind yourself, listeners, this period, April 1, 2018 to March 31, 2024, over a 6-year period. Permanent secretaries. The permanent secretaries have filed 115 declarations with the Integrity Commission over that 6-year period. The Commission has only examined 28.
Which is 24%.
And they've only certified 20.
Which is about 20%.
Heads of entities. The Commission has received 935 declarations. they've only examined 108.
Or 11% of all the declarations received by heads of entities.
And only certified 71.
Oh dear. So that's 71. I didn't do the percentage for that, but quickly that's about 68-69%.
Other public officials, 162,744 declarations received. They've only examined over that 6-year period 1,706.
Or 1%. 1%.
And they've only certified 1,414.
Less than 1%.
So in total, the Commission has received over that 6-year period 165,492 declarations. They've only certified of that number 2,200, examined rather, of that number 2,288 declarations.
That's 1% as well.
And they've only certified 1,781.
Less than 1%.
The question has to be, as it was raised in the Parliament, how are you fighting corruption if this is how low your return rate is on certification and examination?
Yes.
Surely, if corruption exists, it's slipping through the cracks.
Yeah. Because they're not getting the work done in good time.
And I suspect that's a manpower issue. Yeah?
Yeah.
They don't have the manpower, the resources to be able to go through all of this, which is why, as our parliamentary reporter Siobhan Campbell reminded us, they've requested that the threshold for those who need to file be increased.
Well, should we give them Siobhan's report on that?
Sure.
Let's hear Siobhan's report.
The Integrity Commission has been in operation since April 1, 2018. Up to March 31, 2024, 165,492 statutory declarations have been received. Of that number, only 2,288 have been examined. That's just shy of 1.4% of total declarations received by the Commission. However, a little under 80% have actually been certified at 1,781. 693 remain works in progress. Members of Parliament have submitted 416 such declarations over the 6-year period. Only 278 have been examined, with 168 certified. 35 are still being examined. Members of the Senate submitted 133, with only 63 having been certified over the period. The bulk of declarations are made up of other public officials at over 162,000. 1,706 have been examined, with 1,414 being certified. The Integrity Commission is not only aware of the scale of the problem, but has actively petitioned lawmakers to fix it. In January this year, after the passage of an affirmative resolution by the House of Representatives, the prescribed threshold for filing statutory declarations was increased from $3.5 million to $12 million. This means the Commission will now have to process only the declarations of 10,000 public officials, down from 40,000 under the previous dispensation. Ultimately, the Commission has called for an adjustment in the law where the declarations of specific officials are processed regardless of salary scale. Siobhan Campbell for Nationwide News.
So, increasing the threshold to what, 10 million? 12 million?
But even if
should ease the problem.
But even if they have to examine and certify only 10,000 public officials now, by these numbers, they'd still come woefully short. Yes. Because, I mean, here, over a 6-year period of 162,744 other public officials, only 1,706 were examined and 1,414 were certified. So, I would hope that they've beefed up their staffing complement.
Yeah.
Yeah? And so they're going to have a better time of it. But my concern here is if the intention is to capture corruption in the dragnet of examination and certification, then I imagine there's a many a slip between the
lip and
the cup and the lip, because these numbers they're woeful.
Yeah. All right. That's all going to leave it for the cover story. Yes, we're going to make way now for the headlines at 6.
cover story was brought to you by Hyundai. Modern, premium, affordable vehicles.
How certain are you that you're taking proper care of your pets? How often do you take them to the vet? Just as we need annual checkups with our doctors, most pets need regular checkups too. Owning and caring for a family pet doesn't have to be a difficult or burdensome experience. Nationwide 90 FM has an exciting feature called Pets World that will help you take better care of your pets. Join Nationwide 90 FM every Wednesday at 6:50 a.m. during the program This Morning as we take you into the do's and don'ts of caring for your pets. That's Pets World every Wednesday at 6:50 a.m. during the program This Morning on Nationwide 90 FM, a revolution in media.
Looking to rent a fully operational production studio? Then Nationwide 90 FM has got you covered. We have flexible options to meet your recording needs any day of the week. Monday to Fridays, 9 a.m. to 8 p.m. Saturdays and Sundays available upon request. Bookings must be made in advance. Call us today at 630-1210. Let us help you reach your production desires.
Say hello to peace of mind and goodbye to worry with Guardian Life's new Ultimate Provider Plan and secure your medical expenses in the event of critical illness today. Call 888-367-5433 for details.
The time by Guardian Life is
6 o'clock.
Nationwide headlines at 6.
Good evening. With the headlines at 6, I'm Nora Gay Banton. The Integrity Commission says it is nearing completion of the process to certify the statutory declarations of Prime Minister Andrew Holness. The statement is contained in the Commission's 2023-24 annual report. Nationwide News has seen excerpts of the report. The indication is the clearest yet from the anti-corruption watchdog that it's nearing the point where it can make a definitive statement on the financial filings of the Prime Minister. Ricardo Brooks has been reading through the Integrity Commission's report.
It's been nearly 3 years since the Integrity Commission last certified statutory declarations from Jamaica's Prime Minister. During that time, much of the public debate surrounding Holness's statutory declarations has been shrouded in innuendo, speculation, and in some instances, outright lies. The opposition PMP has been hammering Holness over the matter. On Tuesday, the only body in the country empowered to make a definitive comment on the matter broke its silence. Well, partially. The Integrity Commission, in its annual report, says its processes are nearing completion with respect to the Prime Minister's declarations. Importantly, Prime Minister Andrew Holness is not the only legislator whose statutory declarations have not been certified. The Commission revealed that 35 of the declarations filed by the 63 members of Parliament are work-in-progress examinations. 32 declarations of senators bear a similar designation. These declarations are for the 6-year period beginning April 2018 and ending March 2024. The Commission's chairman, retired Justice Seymour Panton, says while much has been said and written about the non-certification of Holness's declarations, the public must be reminded that the Director of Information and Complaints must make such inquiries as considered necessary to determine the accuracy of the declarations filed. It would appear that the process of determining the accuracy of the filings may be causing some of the delay. Prime Minister Andrew Holness told our news centre on Monday that he had written to the Commission more than once regarding his declarations.
They have written to me, I've written back to them, and it is still a matter for the Integrity Commission. Like you, I too am anxious to have this matter resolved.
But what is the nature of the issue that you keep having to respond about?
The general issue of the Integrity Commission is that they do an entire audit on your financials and your personal finances, and for me, going back several years. And that takes time because it is just not my response alone that they have to await. They have to await the responses of several other agencies, entities. It's a very detailed process. And I don't want to comment on it too much because the nature of the process is that the Integrity Commission is the entity that really should give the final disclosure and approval.
Mr. Holness has acknowledged that he has been losing political capital over the non-certification of his declarations. But he says, though the prolonged process of non-certification may seem unfair to him, he will not complain.
One of those things you deal with politically. As I said, it is the process, and I have followed the process as best as I can, and I can only await the Integrity Commission. I am in an invidious position because I am the one that has to ensure that the law is respected, and therefore you will never hear me make any complaint. Even if I feel it has been unfair and unduly so to me, you will never hear me complain.
Whether the Commission's brief statement on the state of Holness's declarations will quell public debate is to be seen. Ricardo Brooks for Nationwide News.
Prime Minister Andrew Holness has announced the Relief, Emergency Assistance and Community Help REACH program to respond to the immediate needs of Jamaicans in the aftermath of Hurricane Beryl. Prime Minister Holness made the announcement in the House of Representatives on Tuesday.
So as we move forward, our focus is on comprehensive relief efforts designed to provide immediate assistance and lay the groundwork for long-term recovery and resilience. Madam Speaker, today I am announcing the Relief, Emergency Assistance and Community Help REACH program. The major elements of the REACH program will include the distribution of food and essential supplies, utility, water, electricity, and telecommunications restoration, housing and reconstruction support, and economic recovery and restoration of livelihood.
As part of the program, care packages have already been distributed, providing enough food for a family of 4 for 4 days through the Ministry of Labour and Social Security. The Prime Minister says approximately 5,000 such packages have been distributed to the most heavily impacted areas. Mr. Holness also announced an additional $4 million to each constituency to assist with Beryl recovery. This is in addition to the $5 million provided to MPs before the hurricane.
We are in that state where we have to respond, but it is important that it is on the record that this is not how, in an ideal world, it should be run. Madam Speaker, we are therefore making an additional allocation, given the demands and the need. 2 constituencies. Again, the same modality. It will go through the CDF, and this is $4 million per constituency to assist in the recovery effort. There are some conditions, as with the first. You must complete the expenditure of the first allocation.
Prime Minister Andrew Holness, he told the Parliament the most heavily impacted constituencies will also receive an additional $3 million. Meanwhile, Prime Minister Holness says over $10 billion worth of damage has been done to the country's roads. This is based on a preliminary assessment conducted by the National Works Agency, NWA.
In terms of infrastructure, our roads, bridges, and essential public facilities have sustained severe damage. The country's road network has been significantly affected. The NWA's preliminary assessment to our main road network totals 10.25 billion Jamaican dollars. There are approximately 25,000 kilometers of roads that connect the country. 5,000 kilometers are main roads, while the remaining 20,000 kilometers are parochial roads. While the data and information are still being collected in the field, the preliminary assessment is that over 500 parochial roads have been affected in various degrees.
And Mr. Holness says nearly $2 billion worth of damage was done to the country's healthcare infrastructure.
The destruction of infrastructure has disrupted access to critical services, including healthcare. Approximately 38% of our public hospitals sustained damage, including major infrastructural damage, mainly roof damage, requiring relocation of patients. A detailed report, including infrastructure damage to the health facilities of the country, was compiled with the total estimated cost to repair those damage reported to be in excess of 1.8 billion Jamaican dollars.
Prime Minister Andrew Holness. Those were the headlines at 6. I'm Norige Banton. Sports is next.
This summer, transform your summer body with Express Fitness Gym. For just $9,500 on AutoPay, you'll get access to all our locations 24/7. Enjoy free classes, fully air-conditioned facilities, showers, and changing rooms. Plus, our certified trainers are here to help you reach your goals. Visit Express Fitness Gym today. Your goal is our mission. Find a location near you or sign up now at pay.expressfitnessja.com.
You can have it all. Company events, birthday parties, or the wedding of your dreams. It's all possible at Grand Palladium Hotels and Resorts. We have magnificent event rooms and a dedicated team that will make your event the best experience that only Grand Palladium Hotels and Resorts can offer. Contact us at 876-619-0000 or call your favorite travel agency and ask about our promotion designed especially for you.
Public opinion. Stop this foolish about this GLP and PMP business. We are Jamaican. Different people.
It's not a matter of a GLP or a PMP. I think it's more like where it is that you think you're comfortable, what support you can afford to make the country better.
Different views.
Most entertainers, they're not amenable to management, so the only thing that can ultimately structure them is the court and the prison.
Public opinion. The voice of the people at 6:25 p.m. weekdays during Nationwide at 5. Tune into Nationwide at 6:25 p.m. for Public Opinion, where the people's views matter.
Public Opinion is brought to you by Cleasing Industrial Supplies Limited, Industrial Automation and Control Solutions.
So what you want? A good friend. What you want? A real good friend.
We're inseparable. We do everything together. Make memories by the score. But we've never hit the home run, been to second base, or shared crowning glory. We know each other's secrets, seen several exes, and the world keeps saying, why wouldn't two just there and done? But the response is always the same.
No, we're just friends.
No history, no mystery, no almost or nearly. Do their intimate relationships ever survive the closeness, or have they been lying about the life they live? Join me, Rodney Campbell, every Tuesday from 9 to 10:30 p.m. for Affairs of the Heart, right here on Nationwide 90 FM. This Tuesday's topic is tight friendship between sexes just a facade to cover past, present, or future? Fun.
Affairs of the Heart is brought to you by Supermed Pharmacy. Super happy, super healthy, Supermed.
ABC Electrical Sales. We make things as easy as ABC.
Hello, good evening, and welcome to Sports here on Nationwide 90 FM. I'm Wayne Walker. Nationwide 90 FM understands that Jamaica's 200 meters world champion Shericka Jackson suffered a recurrence of an old calf injury while competing at today's István Gulai Memorial World Continental Gold Meeting in Hungary. Our source told us today that the MVP camp is expecting her to be back to her full fitness by the end of this weekend, given the nature of the injury. We also sent a WhatsApp message to her coach, Paul Francis, and he responded by saying, simply, she will be okay. Jackson, who turns 30 next week, was leading and seemingly cruising to victory, but pulled just about 25 meters from the finish. She was able to walk off the track even as medics ran over to help. Meanwhile, Kishane Thompson was back in action and impressively won the men's 100 meters in 9.91 seconds. He defeated the Botswanan Letsilite Bogo into second in a season's best 9.99 and Akani Simbini of South Africa third, 10.11.
They are away this time. Good start from Tobacco, good start from Thompson. And there goes Kishane Thompson. Kishane Thompson showing all his form here. Can Tobacco go with him? Shane Thompson looks right, looks left, shuts it down. 9.91. He is the real deal.
Former national champion Rowan Watson was 4th in 10.15. Michael Campbell was 7th in 10.28. Tia Clayton was 2nd in the women's equivalent in 11.06 seconds. Crystal Slowly 3rd, 11.15. Natasha Morrison, 11.19, was 4th. And Tina Clayton was last in 11.52 seconds. Tamara Davis of the USA won in 11 seconds on the nose. Sean Bailey ran a season's best, 44.64, to finish 2nd in the men's 400 meters. He was won by the Olympic champion out of the Bahamas, Stephen Gardiner, 44.50. 2019 world champion Tijay Gale did 7 meters 76 for 9th in the men's long jump, which was won by the world champion Militidas Tenteglu with 8 meters 23. Akila Smith was 2nd in the women's long jump with 6 meters 83. Colombia's Natalia Nedanardis won with 6 meters 87. And the former national 200 meters champion Andrew Hudson was 2nd in the men's 200 meters. He did 20.37 seconds, beaten by the Olympic champion Andre Degas from Canada, who won in 19.98. President of the Jamaica Olympic Association, JOA, Chris Samuda, says it was an easy decision to honor national 200 meters champion Brian Lavelle's request for financial support as he continues his preparation for the Paris Olympic Games. Lavelle of Optimum Performance Track Club won the men's 200 meters at the recent nationals in 19.97 seconds. The former Edwin Allen High School standout request was answered with a $1 million support from the Apex body through the Young Jamaican Change Makers Award. Samuda says assisting athletes to realize their dream is a core of the JOA's mandate.
I've always said that the JOA is in the business of empowering athletes, and therefore our Young Olympians Change Makers Award is designed to reward an athlete for performance and, more importantly, character and a spirit of excellence. Brian Level is the first recipient, and other recipients will be named as the JOA continues to place our athletes at the center of our vision and mission.
President of the Jamaica Olympic Association, Chris Samuda. Opener Mikael Louis is set to make his test debut as West Indies takes on England in the first test at Lord's starting at 5 o'clock tomorrow morning Jamaica time. The 23-year-old Louis forced his way into the West Indies team after impressing in this season's regional 4-day tournament with 682 runs from 7 games at an average of 48.71. He'll become the first player from St. Kitts and Nevis to wear the maroon. Captain of the West Indies, Craig Brathwaite, with whom Louis will be opening, says other youth players should use Louis' achievement as a motivation.
This last season gone, obviously he did extremely well with the bat. He batted long as well. He batted some long periods. He showed a lot of fight. He puts away the ball when it's a bad ball. He's a nice guy, very joyful spirit, and I know he'll do extremely well. Playing international cricket, for many years. But my advice to all the young boys in the group and like Mikael making his debut is don't just aspire to play for West Indies first competition. Be the first to score 30 hundreds. You got to think big. Don't think too small. And I think he'll do extremely well.
Meanwhile, former captain Jason Holder returns to Test cricket for the first time in over a year, and he walks straight into the 11. His successor says the lanky all-rounder is an asset to the team. Jason
obviously has a lot of experience, and it's always good to have him in the group. A lot of younger guys look up to him, and he always is there to offer advice. So it's great to have him, and I know he'll be looking forward to leading from the front with this young group as well.
Craig Brathwaite, the rest of the 11, Kurt McKenzie, Alec Athanase, Kavim Hodge, Joshua De Silva, Alzari Joseph, Gudakesh Moti, Shamar Joseph, and Jaden Seals. Three-time champion Spain, they're through to the final of the 2024 European Football Championship after coming from behind to beat France, Les Bleus, by 2-1 in the first semi-final at the Allianz Arena in Munich today. Randall Colomwani headed the French into an 8th-minute lead, but the brilliant 16-year-olds Lamine Yamal drew Spain level with a stunning 21st-minute equalizer before Dani Olmo scored what turned out to be the winner 4 minutes later.
Kicking it out towards Mbappe, some suspicion of handball, and that's a brilliant start for France. Colomwani, Ali Les Bleus is the try, and what a goal that was! Lamine Yamal, you're looking at the youngest ever scorer at the Euros. Dani Olmo, instant control, can he put it away? It's gone in, off Jules Koundé. It's been turned on its head.
And Spain's opponent in Sunday's final will be decided tomorrow when England clash with the Netherlands at the Signal Iduna Park, home of Bundesliga giants Borussia Dortmund. Defending champions Argentina will face CONCACAF nations Canada in the first semi-finals of the Copa America tournament at the MetLife Stadium in East Rutherford, New Jersey this evening. The game is set to kick off at 8 Jamaica time, and this will be the second meeting of the teams at this year's tournament. Both played in the same group, and the Argentines came away 2-0 winners on the back of goals from their outstanding star players Lautaro Martinez and Julian Alvarez. The Argentine star Leo Messi, who has been dealing with a recent right leg injury, is expected to start in the game. Tomorrow, Uruguay will take on Colombia in an all-South American clash in the other semi-final. Jamaica's 15-member team finished 4th overall at the 30th Junior Caribbean Squash Championships in the BVI. The girls ended the tournament in 2nd. The boys were 8th. National coach Tajir Lumley says they could have finished higher overall if they had a full team.
We had a full boys team, but unfortunately we did not have a full girls team, where that is also one of the reasons why we missed out narrowly in that girls team championship, because if you look at the scoreline, losing 33-love because nobody is there to play, when you go for the comeback, you're losing out points there. And I think that's where we narrowly missed out on clinching that girls team championship this year. Also, we lost out narrowly again for overall placement of the team championships, where we were tied with Bermuda on 17 points, but again on comeback of overall points for the team, both boys and girls. Again, we narrowly lost out by a very close margin.
Lumley was impressed with the girls' team, which brought home 6 medals, 2 gold, 3 silver and a bronze.
In the individual championship, we walked away with a gold, which is from Mehar Trehan, who won the girls under 17, defeating her compatriot, Elle Wilson, in the finals. And we walked away with a bronze in the girl under 19s from Sanjana Nalapati. And the silver actually came from Catherine Risden. While on the doubles side, we walked away with gold there, defeating Barbados after narrowly missing out last year. And all 3 doubles team walked away with silver. But this year we were able to convert one of those finals, which we only really had one finalist on the doubles side, or unfortunately our mixed doubles team lost out a bit earlier in the round.
Tajir Lumley. And we close with the Nationwide Olympic Fact. It's sponsored by Rainforest Caribbean.
This is Nationwide's Olympic Facts, brought to you by Rainforest Caribbean. Make delicious moments.
Did you know that Janelle Atkinson was the first Jamaican female swimmer to reach an Olympic final? Yes, that's a fact. Atkinson made history on September 17 at age 17 at the 2000 Sydney Olympics. Competing in the 400 meters freestyle, she set the national record of 4 minutes 09.61 seconds to be third from the qualifying rounds. In the final, she placed 4th in a still-standing national record of 4 minutes 08.79 seconds. She was not only the first Jamaican woman, but also the first Caribbean woman to make that final.
That was Nationwide's Olympic Facts, brought to you by Rainforest Caribbean. Make delicious moments.
That's sports.
For all your scales and food processing equipment, call Advanced Scales and Equipment Limited at 876-968-9612-5. The time by Advanced Scales and Equipment Limited is
6:21.
For hard-to-get medications, over-the-counter and chemotherapy drugs, visit Dean's Pharmacy Pepin. When others don't have it, we do. Dean's Pharmacy. Feeling better starts right here.
The temperature by Dean's Pharmacy, feeling better, starts right here, is
32 degrees Celsius here in the nation's capital, Kingston. It's 30 in the western city, Montego Bay.
Outperform, outlast. With top performance. Chakama. Reliable, full stop, not comma. We have the expertise for drilling and demolition. We have the power tools for plumbers and electricians. Pan select tools, 3 parts and 3 repairs. 3 parts, 3 repairs. 2 to 3 years. Hilton, available at Delta Supply, 106 Hagley Park Road. Call us at 876-302-6111-4. Delta Supply, we service what we sell.
The Jamaica Observer is always ahead. But did you know we're also number one by far? With over 18 million page views on our website, over 800,000 followers on Instagram, and a following of over 500,000 followers on Twitter.
We're tapping into an audience like no other.
And the numbers don't lie. Contact the Jamaica Observer team today to reach your target audience. Give us a call at 470-9172 to advertise with us.
The number one by far.
Public Opinion is brought to you by Cleasing Industrial Supplies Limited, Industrial Automation and Control Solutions.
Good evening and welcome to Public Opinion. I'm Mahiri Stewart. Special good evening to our friends on YouTube. We invite you to also weigh in live in the comment section on today's Public Opinion. Now, Nationwide News understands that Jamaica's 200-meter world champion Shericka Jackson suffered a recurrence of an old calf injury while competing at today's World Continental Gold Meet in Hungary. Now, our source told us today that the MVP camp is expecting her to be back to her normal self, I guess, by the end of the week. Given the nature of the injury, Jackson, who turns 30 next week, was leading and seemingly cruising to victory, but pulled just about 25 meters from the finish. Jackson was able to walk off the track even as medics ran over to help. So in Public Opinion, we are asking you today, what's your reaction to Shericka Jackson's injury at a meet in Hungary? So let's take a look at the answers. We go to Instagram first. Hopefully the YouTubers are piling in now, so by the time I get to them, there'll be things to read, yes? Will Ryan Wilson kicks us off today. He says, I'm devastated. I fear she does not pull through for the next events. Me a pray though. Smalling Marsha says, praying for her full recovery. Jet Slate says, it's just sad. Hope it's nothing serious. O'Shane Jason says, I'm hoping that it's not serious and she recovers soon. All right. Jermaine Lulu 24 says, I do sports and that face reaction don't look good. That injury looks 3 months healing, hoping for the best. G Money 2914 says she will be fine come next month. All right. So that's what we have on Instagram. Let's take a look at Facebook. Yeah. Now, Georgina Birdson says, very sad. Just was thinking, why a meet before the Olympics? These athletes should be concentrating only on the Olympics. Well, yes, but nothing gets somebody ready for competition more than a meet, doesn't it? Yeah, that's competition for you. Philip Jackson says, we'll see today, but no one knows what tomorrow will bring. It's unfortunate, but it's an injury. She will recover. All right. Natalie Winter says, very sad to hear. And Shanice Campbell says, we never get to see it because I'll know JPS not give it back no light. Oh my. All right. So that one made me laugh, man. Let me try and find our answers on X and then we go over to the YouTubers, yeah? Boy, JPS says they're almost done, man. Just keep pulling through, yeah? Bo Winkle on X says he is panicking. All right. So let's take a look at what the YouTubers are saying, right? Tam says she will be ready if she has the right medical treatment with rest. Wallace says, Mahiri, we're not interested in sports right now. Politics time, yeah? Is it politics time, Wallace? Yeah, you want a politics question? We'll give you a politics question one of the days this week. But you have to remember, yeah, this injury, if it is as serious as we are saying it is, yeah, that could play a big role in Jamaica's performance at the Olympic Games later this year. Yeah, this is of national importance, Wallace. Yeah, very important for the country, this seemingly insignificant injury, seeing that it's not politics. But worry not, Wallace. We'll get back to the politics soon, yeah? Sandra Murray says she's doubtful about her chances at the Olympics. So Sandra Murray's of the belief that this injury, depending on its severity, could affect Shericka's chances when she gets to the Olympic Games. What do we have here? Errol Murray says, I start to fret, but hoping for the best, though. Okay. Strongling says, very concerned. Something about her just don't look sharp this year. She has too many rounds in the Olympics if she's not at her max. Okay. Marigold Weber says, seeing that she walked off the field. So I guess what Marigold is implying is that if she was good enough to walk off the field, chances are it is not as bad as some may be thinking. Okay. Cabbage says, too much politics, no good still. I agree. Have to switch it up sometimes, yeah? Sometimes we have to switch it up. It's been a while since we've asked a sports question, you know what I'm saying? So why not now as we're in the lead up to the Olympics? And Cabbage again says, we are world class when it comes to athletics. The injury is a matter of our legacy. Sharika being injured is not a good sign. Hope for the best. Glenn says, my heart stopped briefly when I saw Sharika pulled up. I truly hope she will be ready for the Olympics. Erica Bennett says, I met Mahiri and Johan Blake today. That's right, folks. I was walking to work today. I was on my way to work, and Erica saw me, and she told me hello. She says she's a YouTuber, and she loves watching Nationwide. And we shared a hug. It's always fun meeting some of the YouTubers. This is probably the third YouTuber I've met since I started working here. That was a fun time, yeah? What's this? Wallace said, I just said it because I noticed in the evenings no one responded to the questions you asked. Oh, don't worry about that, Wallace. Don't worry about that, yeah? Honest D says, I hope it's not very serious. If so, then it would be very sad. Maybe this is her only chance of getting individual gold at the Olympics. Cindy Lynch says, the USA will be happy if she's out, seeing that Elaine is also out. Okay. Ursuline Bowen says, Sha'Carri Richardson must be smiling to the bank now that Sharika pulled up. All right, folks. Do we keep going, Bugs? Do we have more time? Yeah, we have more time to keep reading some answers. Let's see what else we have here. If I scroll up, Gillette Sanchez was asking why bring up her age. Well, I mean, it's part of the brief, you know. It's a little tidbit. I'm not implying that she's too old and that she cannot recover from this. Surely not. Yeah? That's not something that happens to our athletes. Worry not. All right. Still going through the comment section, but based on what I've seen so far, a lot of concern by not just the YouTubers, but those in the other social media comments as well. South Coast says her coach says by weekend she will be okay. And if that is to happen, then that will cause the country to breathe a sigh of relief as we go into the Olympic season. We can only hope for the best, yes? We can only hope it is nothing serious and it is something that she can recover from very quickly so that she's in tip-top shape to fly the Jamaican flag high when she gets to the Olympic Games. As always, folks, and that's true, Strongling says Sha'Carri is not in the 200 meters. That's true, but she is in the 100 meters, and we know that's an event that Sharika does as well, yeah? But there we have it, folks. Another public opinion in the bag. Thank you so much for tuning in as always. Thank you so much for participating as always. I'm Mahiri Stewart, and make sure you stay tuned in because it's time for the business report.
Public Opinion was brought to you by Cleasing Industrial Supplies Limited, Industrial Automation and Control Solutions.
Drive the most exciting new vehicles in Jamaica. Schedule your 2024 Ford Ranger pickup or Ford Everest 7-seater SUV test drive now. Call or visit KIG today.
The time by KIG is
6:31.
Don't let poor vision hold your children back. IQ Optical gives complimentary standard reflection-free lenses to children and teachers until May 31. Conditions apply.
The temperature by IQ Optical is...
It is 32 degrees Celsius in Kingston, 30 degrees Celsius in Montego Bay. Hello, good evening, and welcome to Nationwide's Business Report. I'm Mahiri Stewart. The Development Bank of Jamaica, DBJ, has announced the launch of the Tradesperson Ownership Opportunity Loan Program, also known as the TOOL Program. This initiative allows specialized contractors to access loans of up to $500,000 each, providing them with easier access to financing for essential equipment and tools in order to improve their productivity and expand their business. The program is designed to meet the needs of Jamaica's specialized contractors across various sectors, including plumbers, tilers, masons, electricians, carpenters, painters, general contractors, HVAC technicians, maintenance technicians, and other MSMEs involved in artisan trades. The tool program will be made available through funds provided by the DBJ to Exim Bank and some of the bank's microfinance institution partners, including Lasco Microfinance, Bull Investments, JN Bank, and Regions Financial Services. These entities will then offer eligible subloans to tradespeople, facilitating the purchase of essential hand tools, power tools, and specialized instruments. And internationally, China's biggest electric car maker, BYD, has agreed to a $1 billion deal to set up a manufacturing plant in Turkey as it continues to expand outside its home country. The new plant will be able to produce up to 150,000 vehicles a year, according to Turkish state news agency Anadolu. The facility is expected to create around 5,000 jobs and start production by the end of 2026. The deal was signed at an event in Istanbul, and the announcement comes as Chinese EV makers face increasing pressure in the European Union and the US. And finally, in the currency markets, at the close of trading today, it cost 157 Jamaican dollars and 44 cents to buy $1 US. It cost 199 Jamaican dollars and 13 cents to buy £1 British pound and 116 Jamaican dollars and 86 cents to buy the Canadian dollar. That's the business report. I'm Mahiri Stewart. Good evening.
If it's in the public's interest, it's the nation's business during Nationwide at 5. The nation's business.
So what you want? A good friend. What you want? A real good friend.
We're inseparable. We do everything together. Make memories by the score. But we've never hit the home run, been to second base, or shared crowning glory. We know each other's secrets, seen several exes, and the world keeps saying, why wouldn't two just there and done? But the response is always the same.
No, we're just friends.
No history, no mystery, no almost or nearly. Do their intimate relationships ever survive the closeness, or have they been lying about the life they live? Join me, Rodney Campbell, every Tuesday from 9 to 10:30 p.m. for Affairs of the Heart, right here on Nationwide 90 FM. This Tuesday's topic is tight friendship between sexes just a facade to cover past, present, or future? Fun.
What you want? A real good man friend.
Affairs of the Heart is brought to you by Supermed Pharmacy. Super happy, super healthy, Supermed.
ABC Electrical Sales. We make things as easy as ABC.
Do you have a consumer-related issue? Want to learn more about matters concerning you as a consumer? Well, keep it locked to Nationwide 90 FM for the Consumer Hour with me, Nora Gay Banton, weekdays from 9 to 10 a.m. For all your consumer-centric matters, stay tuned to the Consumer Hour on Nationwide 90 FM, a revolution in media.
I'm Dennis Brooks.
I'm Marlon Campbell.
I'm Floyd Green.
And I'm Garth Williams. Catch us on the Jamaican Dads podcast right here on Nationwide 90 FM, Thursdays at 8 p.m. with a repeat on Sundays at 6 p.m.
The Jamaican Dads podcast is all about providing men with a healthy, safe, and functional forum to tackle many of the taboo topics that concern our masculinity.
Like everyone else out there, we're dads of varying amounts of experience who come from different backgrounds and often view the world differently.
We're definitely not perfect, but we're all brethren and we're all committed to this piece of rock called Jamaica.
Too often, there are no safe spaces for men to explore the issues which are important to us.
Plus, most of the content out there about parenthood is produced by women, for women. So we think it is important that we be the change we want to see.
Follow us on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at Jamaican Dads with a Z.
And definitely join us here on Nationwide 90 FM every Thursday at 8 p.m. with a repeat on Sundays at 6 p.m. for the Jamaican Dads Podcast. It's a revolution in media.
Catch the E-Zone with me, the Stinger Honeybee, alongside
Kareem Boy Ting.
as we turn up the heat in the street.
New show.
New vibes.
Same us.
Same us.
Monday to Friday, 3 to 5 p.m.
Right here on Nationwide 90 FM.
We'll bring you entertainment news.
We'll take away your Monday blues.
You don't want to miss a week with us.
We'll talk health.
Well,
jump into the mix.
Or the hot seat.
Don't miss the brain buster.
Or the crazy giveaways.
I mean, is this planet Earth?
Is it?
I don't know. Let me check. Either way, it's got a buzz.
And a bugger thing.
Ow.
This is Nationwide's Olympic Facts, brought to you by Rainforest Caribbean. Make delicious moments.
Did you know that Andrew Phillips was the first Jamaican swimmer to reach an Olympic final? Yes, that's a fact. Phillips created history for the island when he made the Olympic final on August 4 at the 1984 Los Angeles Olympics. Competing in the 200 meters individual medley, he finished a historic 6th in a time of 2 minutes 05.61 seconds. That record lasted for over 30 years. He is still the first Jamaican swimmer to have made an Olympic final.
That was Nationwide's Olympic Facts, brought to you by Rainforest Caribbean. Make delicious moments.
How certain are you that you're taking proper care of your pets? How often do you take them to the vet? Just as we need annual checkups with our doctors, most pets need regular checkups too. Owning and caring for a family pet doesn't have to be a difficult or burdensome experience. Nationwide 90 FM has an exciting feature called Pets World that will help you take better care of your pets. Join Nationwide 90 FM every Wednesday at 6:50 a.m. during the program This Morning as we take you into the do's and don'ts of caring for your pets. That's Pets World every Wednesday at 6:50 a.m. during the program This Morning on Nationwide 90 FM, a revolution in media.
Experience Jamaica's Olympic triumphs in Jamaica Gold, a golden spotlight.
Brought to you by Horton's Pharmacy. Horton's RX Pack for better medication management.
4 years after Arthur Wint won the men's 400 meters at the 1948 Olympics, George Roden won the event to ensure the title remained with Jamaica. Roden competed in the 1948 Summer Olympics but did not win a medal, being eliminated in the heats of the 100 meters and the semi-final of the 400 meters. He was also a member of the heavily favored Jamaican 4x400 meters relay team, but when Wint pulled a muscle in the final, their chances of a medal were gone. After a disappointing showing at the 1948 Summer Games, Roden was successful at the 1952 Olympics in Helsinki. As world record holder, he was one of the pre-race favorites in the 400 meters, which he won in a close battle with his compatriot Herb McKinley. McKinley says the photo-finish judge awarded the race to the right man.
Again, there was a photo finish, and I lost the judgment. But there was no doubt that Roden had actually beat me in this, although both of us at the same time.
You just experienced a Jamaican Olympic triumph in Jamaica Gold, a golden spotlight.
Brought to you by Horton's Pharmacy. Horton's RX Pack for better medication management.
Chewy flavor with delight. It really, really nice. May I have to say it twice.
The time by Jamaica Mountain Peak Golden Turmeric Latte is
19 minutes to 7.
Nation's Business is brought to you by BH Paints. Paint it, love it with BH Paints.
Good evening. Thank you so much for staying with us here nationwide at 5, right inside the nation's business. And just before we go to the nation's business, the report from the Integrity Commission, the annual report, has now been tabled in the House of Representatives. And our team of reporters, Ricardo Brooks and Siobhan Campbell, are going through the full report. You recall we told you we had seen excerpts of the report on which we reported in our newscast and commented on in our cover story. Now the full annual report has been tabled in the House of Representatives. And so far, the big takeaway, what were the illicit six which made headline news and became a hot political issue for the opposition People's National Party since last year? According to this year's annual report of the Integrity Commission, the illicit six are no more. It's now the illicit two. 2 parliamentarians under investigation for illicit enrichment and 4 other public officials. But the illicit 6 is now illicit 2. Ricardo and Siobhan will be joining us shortly after 7 with more from the full report that has just been tabled in the House of Representatives. But we're going to turn now to the Education Ministry. Today said the preliminary estimate of the damage to the country's schools by Hurricane Barry last Wednesday amount to $797 million. Videos and pictures being circulated on social media show the extent of the damage done to some of Jamaica's schools by the Category 4 hurricane. Beg your pardon. Traditional high schools such as Monroe in St. Elizabeth, Manning's in Westmoreland, could be seen with roofs blown off and extensive damage to windows and classrooms. Speaking with Nationwide News today, on Monday, Education Minister Favour Williams says 100 schools have been damaged. She joins us now to discuss further. We'll also be joined by the principal of Monroe College, Mark Smith, and the principal at Hampton High School, Dr. Marvell Charlton Brown. Yes, we also have, Favour Williams joins us as well. Minister Williams, Mr. Smith, and Dr. Charlton Brown. Good evening.
Good evening. Good evening to your listeners as well. Good evening, Principal.
Thank you very much for joining us. Let me begin with you, Minister Williams. You're looking at a preliminary estimate of almost $800 million?
And that is just a preliminary estimate of these 100 schools that we were able to assess. Mm-hmm. The assessment is still going on. I fully expect that number will increase. As you know, many of our schools were built decades ago, and they have not been upgraded to take into consideration the climate change environment in which we're operating now. So I think what we're seeing is the impact of that, in terms of the impact on the buildings that are decades old. Mm-hmm. And so it is calling on us now, and it's a good thing because we were already looking at changing the building standards or incorporating climate change into our building standards. So going forward, these are the things that we will be doing as we look to upgrade the schools, whether those that are damaged or those that are not.
Yeah. And in terms of the preliminary report you're getting, Minister Williams, which part of the infrastructure, what parts of the infrastructure are mainly those that have suffered damage?
Well, roofs, for example, today I was at the graduation ceremony for Ferncourt High School. They had to move their graduation from having it at their school, to having it at Moneague College because the roof of the auditorium was, destroyed in a way that they can't use the auditorium. Mm-hmm. So we're getting those kinds of stories. I've seen pictures of a building where there's been a landslide. So a part of the building is just kind of perched on the top of wherever it's sitting, and the earth below it is gone. So we're seeing those kinds of pictures come in.
Wow. And if I bring in here the principals of Monroe and Hampton, Principal of Hampton, beginning with you, Dr. Marvel Charlton Brown. You're a stone's throw away from Monroe, if my geography is correct.
Yes.
Right. And what was the damage like at Hampton, Dr. Brown?
We would have lost the roof to our grade 7 block, the roof to our sixth form complex, the section covering a staff room, laboratories, and classrooms. We have also lost the roof of the administrative building and the main staff room, as well as the chapel. We have also lost sections
The roof of the staff room is gone?
Yes, the main staff room
Whoa.
and a smaller staff room located at the sixth form complex.
Uh-huh.
Wow. The chapel is without a roof, and one of our dormitories lost a section of its roof. The entire grade 7 block lost its roof.
Wow. And what about equipment? Did you suffer equipment damage as well?
Well, at this point, we have not seen where we would have lost, especially because we're without electricity. We have not been able to assess exactly to what degree we would have lost equipment.
Yeah.
We did, however, secure those, and fortunately, the majority of our electronic equipment were located at on first floors, so they would not have had, say, the roof being zinc, but would have had the slab roof.
Yes.
So the laboratories fared well.
Okay. Mr. Smith, at Monroe, I saw the reports. I think it was a Gleaner headline this morning, Monroe mangled. Yeah. And it was quite an experience for you and your family on the compound while Beryl was really roaring. Tell us what happened.
Good evening. In general, it was quite an experience.
Mr. Smith?
After.
Hello?
Can you hear me?
Yes, getting better. Go ahead.
I was saying that it was quite an experience.
No, Mr. Smith, hold the line for us. My producer is going to speak with you. We're going to try and get a better connection. But if I may go back to Dr. Charlton Brown. Dr. Brown, do you live on campus at Hampton? Hello? Dr. Brown?
Yes, I do.
And what was it like for you during the passage of Beryl?
Well, I left the compound the night before, the Tuesday night. A part of the cottage, the principal's cottage, was also affected. So a section of the roof had lifted. I was not there. And we have also lost the roof of about 2 other cottages, staff cottages.
Yes. Any estimate yet, Dr. Brown, as to the cost you're looking at to get school ready for your girls come September?
Well, the formal estimates we hope to have by the end of the week. We have had assessors coming in already to get the estimate of damage, separate from the estimate of restoration. But just from our own approximation, we already see that we are looking at a bill that should be close to $200 million.
What? You hear that, Minister Williams?
Yes. So I earlier on when I spoke, I said I'm fully expecting that this number, the 797 number that we have right now, that will be significantly larger because we've just gotten preliminary estimates on 100 schools. There are 1,009 schools all across Jamaica. I know that not every one of them would have suffered damage.
How many you have in St. Elizabeth? Do you know?
Not off the top of my head, Cliff.
Yes.
But I would expect those schools there would be the most damaged.
Right. Because if, in the case of Hampton, their bill preliminarily. Let's make that clear. All of these are preliminary. These are not final figures. Dr. Charlton Brown says they're looking at $200 million for Hampton repairs.
Her. And we haven't yet gone to St. Mary or Portland or St. Thomas. Mm-hmm. So you can see that number climbing.
Yes.
Across, we have building officers out there. 18 building officers are roving. We have quantity surveyors. We have a civil engineer out there to do the rapid assessment for us, because we're going to have to do emergency procurement, because we only have a very tight window to help those schools that are in need, that need to open come September.
Yeah. And Dr. Charlton Brown, would you have had insurance?
Yes.
Oh, so that could help to defray some of your costs.
Definitely, yes. We would have also had a representative from our insurance coming in, to look at what has happened as against our coverage. So we do expect that should cover a significant portion of. But we're also certain that it will not cover all the expenses. But we are encouraged that our insurance coverage will give us a very good start, put us in good stead to make our way towards readiness for September.
Yes. And Mr. Smith, we're trying to call you back, but we're getting voicemail on your phone. I don't know if it's a case where your battery is dead or what, but we're trying to reconnect with the principal of Monroe, Mark Smith. And we have with us the principal of Hampton, Dr. Marvel Charlton Brown, and the Education Minister, Favour Williams. Minister Williams, when will you be in a position to get a full picture of what you're faced with come now to be ready for September?
Right. So, today's Tuesday.
Yes.
Hopefully, by the end of this week, we'll have a much better grasp on it, because as roads are being cleared, our assessors are able to go out. We're also getting pictures, lots of pictures from persons. As you know, phone service was not readily available to everyone, so we've put out across the system our platform for our regional directors, education officers, and others to update, so that we don't get this information almost in real time. So by tomorrow, we should be able to see better, and the next day, even better.
Mm-hmm. And Mrs. Williams, if you will, what is your advice to principals and school administrators now?
Well, right now they should try to secure, what's not damaged. Work with our assessors when they come out, because having the information now will help us greatly as we look to go through the procurement process to get contractors out there to begin the work, because we have to begin momentarily, like yesterday.
You heard from Dr. Charlotte Brown, Minister. They have insurance at Hampton. Is that a matter of course for most public schools to carry insurance, or something like an act of God, such as hurricanes?
Well, as you know, government, for a lot of government assets, government self-insures. And in the case of schools, I have not seen in our budgets or in any of the discussions that I've had, I've not had any discussion about insurance for buildings of schools and so forth. We just have to find some more resources to rebuild and restore the schools that are damaged as quickly as we can.
Dr. Charlton Brown?
So could I add that it would all be part of the broader national insurance coverage that the government has, disaster relief, and all the things the government has put in place. Schools would come under that broad umbrella as well in terms of allocation of resources.
Yes. Dr. Charlton Brown, we hear that St. Elizabeth was the worst affected parish,
Yes.
and the projection is that the parish will not be getting electricity in a meaningful way for another 3-4 weeks. Yes.
Yes. Yes.
You did say earlier there's no power at Hampton now, didn't you?
Yes.
Good. So what is good? How is that going to impact on your ability now to start the repair job that you have to do?
Well, it does impact significantly. We are making efforts towards beefing up our own power supply.
Mm-hmm.
It so happens that just ahead of the hurricane, our generator developed some issues, but we are already having our repair team looking at that. That alone, once we get that back into service, will allow us to have our administrative services fully restored.
Yes.
And so it is our aim to be able to function close to normal standards by the end of next week.
Yes.
That is really essential. That is really the basic for us. Because once we do that, we can continue our usual activities. We haven't paused. We have not been able to do that. We have been having interviews up to today, still ensuring that we have staff in place for September. Mm-hmm. And our general perspective is no student of Hampton should be wondering whether school will start at the scheduled time, because we will. So all our ladies just need to be ready. All our staff just need to be ready, because we will. We always find a way, and we must.
Yes. You seem to be well self-sufficient, if not self-reliant there at Hampton. You have your insurance, you have your generator. Do you have your backup water supply system as well?
Yes. Well, that is dependent on electricity, as you might imagine.
Yes.
But, yes, we do.
Do your ladies board at Hampton, some of them?
Yes.
Oh. How many boarders you have there?
A little under 300. The population is about 1,200.
Oh.
And close to 300 are usually in residence.
Oh. I think we have Mr. Mark Smith back with us now, the principal of Monroe. Mr. Smith?
Good evening, Cliff. Can you hear me?
Yes, I'm hearing you much better now.
All right, fantastic.
Good. So
brilliant.
I had just asked you, what was it like during the height of Beryl's fury last week when you were on campus at Monroe?
Well, I can tell you it's like nothing I've ever experienced. The closest frame of reference I have would have been Gilbert. And that was most memorable for me. As a child, I was probably around 9 at the time. But I believe this knocked it out of the park. The winds were downright ferocious. At one point, I thought we had lost the roof of my cottage. And it's just raging. And I was actually able to salvage some of the documents that were in my office. But my office is actually attached to my residence. And so I was moving some of the documents across that were in plastic wrap. And I remember just hearing the roof being lifted, and so eventually I just aborted that mission and returned to the house.
Mm-hmm.
But I can tell you, it was truly horrific. When we came out the morning after, the scenes were apocalyptic. That's the way I could, just look like a bomb went off in the school. Really, the noise was really intimidating, but when you saw the level of devastation, that really was a bit of a shocker. I'd really never seen anything like it. And the good thing is, we take some solace in the fact that no lives were lost. However, many of my colleagues, members of staff that reside on the campus, had even worse stories. So while my house was flooded, there was a lot of water damage. The reality is that we thank God that lives were preserved despite the horrific nature of the storm or hurricane.
Yes. I see your son asked if you were about to die.
Yeah, indeed. He's quite a smart one. He looked and he said, Daddy, this doesn't seem normal. Like, we do have really high winds at Monroe. We're one of the two windiest places on the island.
Yes.
And Monroe is perched atop the Santa Cruz Hill at the highest point.
Mhm.
And so we were really getting the full onslaught from Hurricane Beryl. And so he, at one point when the roof sounded like it was going to go, he turned to me and he said, Daddy, are we going to die? And I said, not today, son, not today. But it was quite an experience. One I think that we'll all remember.
Oh dear. So we have been seeing the videos coming out of Monroe and the photographs. What's the preliminary estimate of the damage done to your property there?
Well, the preliminary estimates put it at anywhere between 315 Jamaican to 310 million, 315 million. Every building, with the exception of that were not destroyed, as opposed to
Mr. Smith, we lost you where you said every building except,
with the exception of 4 buildings did not sustain damage.
And how many buildings you have there?
35.
Oh, 31 were damaged.
31 buildings have been damaged, yes.
Yes.
And it ranges from minimum damage all the way up to major damage, entire roofs. Some of the buildings here are of older construction, or ended up being one of them, and it means I used dirt along with stones. Many of my buildings on the campus here at Monroe would be in excess of 200 years old. The school used to be an old coffee plantation, and when we moved from Black River to this present location in the Potsdam community, we would have used a lot of those buildings as a part of the school campus. And so a lot of those buildings, once water enters, it starts to compromise the structural integrity. And so we had a structural engineer in fact, since Sunday, we have been meeting with contractors and various experts to make preliminary assessment as to the damage. And as I said, it's significant, and there's a lot of work to be done.
Yes.
But what is clear is that school must open come September.
Must open come September.
That is not negotiable. Yeah, my students will not be going online.
Oh, and you feel confident that you'll be able to mobilize the resources and manpower to get the job done?
I believe so. We have a very strong Old Boys Association, and they have really been at it. I want to especially commend Victor Tomlinson, our vice chair of the board, and also the president of the Monroe College Old Boys Association and his executive team for their quick thinking, and they've really been asking and seeking support from various corporate entities as well as members of the Old Boy fraternity. And we have got very good feedback in terms of the projected support. But what is needed is it needs all hands on deck. We really need a coalition of willing Jamaicans to assist us to make it. I'm very optimistic because I know that Monroe College is one of those schools that a lot of Jamaicans, even if they have no direct affiliation, they understand. A lot of people appreciate and value dearly.
Yeah. And of course, none of your boys were on campus during Beryl, I trust. They were already home for holiday?
Unfortunately, school ended the Friday before. And so all students had actually gone off already. Unfortunately, our graduation ceremony, which was slated for the Friday following the passage of Beryl, was, of course, postponed as a result of the damage. But we're hoping to have that rescheduled sometime in August.
Yes. And in a case like this, your trust will come to the assistance of both yourself and Hampton, Mr. Smith?
We are working very closely and been in communication with Dr. John Gordon, who is the trust chairman, and of course they will lend their full support.
Okay. Minister, so it's 315 million and counting for Monroe, 200 million and counting for Hampton. You're up to $500 million. There goes your 800 million.
No, I told you that I fully expect that, for that number to increase, given what we're hearing about the magnitude of the damage across the education sector. Yes, it's going to be a significant number.
Yeah. Well. All the best, Dr. Charlton Brown, Marvel Charlton Brown, the principal of Hampton, Education Minister Favour Williams, and the principal of Monroe, Mark Smith. Thank God we all came through. Yeah, with our lives, we will rebuild. We will. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for having
Thank you
us.
so much.
Good,
Bless
good.
you.
After the break, the Integrity Commission's full report, annual report, has now been tabled in the House of Representatives. What were the illicit 6 is now down to the illicit 2.
Nation's Business was brought to you by BH Paints. Paint it, love it with BH Paints.
The mission of the Ministry of Legal and Constitutional Affairs includes revising Jamaica's legal and constitutional infrastructure and accelerating the pace of reform. The time by the MLCA is
7 minutes after 7.
With so much to do in one location, make Megamart your one-stop shop. Pick up your groceries and houseware needs, grab a bite and pay some bills. Fill your prescriptions and see the beauty products in our pharmacy. All in one amazing location. My Megamart, the best value by far.
My name is Dujan and I come from Appleton Basic School. My Olympic hero is Usain Bolt.
Away cleanly. Bolt has got a very good start indeed.
One of my mottos is that, anything is possible. Don't think limits on that. And I feel that I've proven that throughout the years. I never thought I would be this great at what I've done. But I want to say to the young kids growing up, just live your dream. Work hard, stay focused, and just be strong and just keep on pushing and it will come true. So thank you.
Watch the clock. It's goal for Bolt. And again, he's done it again. A new world record for Usain Bolt.
Stay tuned to the Paris Olympic at Nationwide 90 FM.
Hi there. Here's some good news for these trying times. Quote, "By God's word, I can see where I'm going. They throw a beam of light on my dark path." Unquote. Psalm 119, verse 105. Listen for God's word weekdays at 5:45 a.m. and 12:55 p.m. through
Oasis. Stop by for a refreshing drink and share a God perspective for the day.
Oasis. Weekdays 5:45 a.m. and 12:55 p.m. right here on Nationwide, a revolution in media.
The rebroadcast of the Oasis can be heard weekdays at 5:45 a.m.
The Oasis is brought to you by Solar Tech Jamaica. We use the gift of the sun to power our world.
Good evening. 10 minutes after 7 o'clock. We told you that main item on the agenda for the Parliament today was the anticipated tabling of the annual report of the main anti-corruption watchdog group in the country, the Integrity Commission. That report has now been tabled, and it makes for interesting reading. We have with us in studio Ricardo Brooks and Siobhan Campbell, our parliamentary reporter. Siobhan, what's the big takeaway?
Good afternoon, Sir Hughes,
Good
Sir
evening.
Brooks, and to our listeners and viewers. So, as you announced at the top of the hour, as I understand it, the main takeaway so far is that coming from the 2023 annual report tabled last year, we had heard that there were 6 parliamentarians and 28 public officials under investigation by the Integrity Commission for illicit enrichment. That number is now at 2 parliamentarians, down from 6, and now 4 public officials, down from 28. That is the update now for their March 31st, 2024 annual report.
We need to settle something. Are we calling them the illicit 2 or the illicit duo? we just need to settle that. But more seriously though, this, Siobhan, Cliff, it begs further explanation. Is it that the Integrity Commission has completed reports on the 4 people who have now been subtracted from this and will have those tabled in the Parliament? Or is it that they investigated and found nothing? As the chairman said in another section of the report, sometimes you investigate and there is no merit to the allegations which first inspired the investigation.
Let me be a little bit provocative.
Yeah.
Could a third option be where those 4 are concerned, they have investigated, completed their work, and are about to lay charges?
Well, which is why I said it begs further information, and we would hope, because the chairman did say that they had other reports to table. So we'll have to wait to see that as to whether that's the case. But Siobhan is right. This is significant because for the past year, or certainly 10 months, public debate has been dominated by this idea.
It has fueled quite a bit of speculation.
Innuendo, outright lies, that there are 6 individuals sitting in the legislature who have gotten wealth by ill-gotten means.
And more specific, let's call it for what it was, that the 6 are from the governing Jamaica Labour Party.
It created a political firestorm.
Yes. And the JLP has been taking a battering over it.
Yes, and no more than at least 3 MPs have already contacted me to voice some concern about how this report has been tabled, because they said, that's it, where's the rest of the information? You essentially had us pilloried for over a year, and it has amounted to this, and you've given us no further information as to what has happened to those 4 parliamentarians.
There's nothing in the report that says, listen,
no,
we have cleared them, we have discontinued the investigations.
We haven't laid eyes on any such section.
Wow.
I got 2 messages from 2 parliamentarians. Utter nonsense.
Oh?
Utter nonsense.
Oh. And what of... and nothing further than the Prime Minister beyond what we
reported at the top of the newscast at 5 o'clock. No.
That they're nearing completion of his statutory.
That's the chairman's statement.
What else is a standout in this?
Well, at least one parliamentarian has raised issue with the inclusion of that shooting incident regarding Ryan Evans in front of the Integrity Commission's New Kingston office. They question if it had nothing to do with Mr. Evans' duty as the director of, I believe it's corruption prevention. Why is it included in your report for what is essentially just a police matter? So they've raised concern as to why is this here? What are you trying to insinuate? And then they raised a further concern about the insinuation of how the incident took place, suggesting that it took place in broad daylight. And to date, the police have found no one involved or given the Integrity Commission no information to suggest what or who was involved in the incident. And the parliamentarian is asking, why are you now questioning the investigations of the police?
And let me read, Siobhan, specifically what the chairman of the Integrity Commission wrote in the annual report. Seymour Panton says, during September 2023, a serious criminal act was committed in the vicinity of the office of the Commission. One of its directors was shot and robbed. That crime remains unsolved. I imagine that investigations are taking place. However, neither the director nor the Commission has received any update since the incident. The police ought to be very concerned that this happened in the New Kingston Business District where, get this, there are no zinc fences, no bushes, and very few side roads. Yet, Seymour Panton says, the perpetrator was able to disappear without trace in the clear morning light.
And a parliamentarian asked me, why is that in this report? This is about the business of the Integrity Commission. What importance is this to the business of the Integrity Commission?
And that question would be raised because the inclusion of this paragraph suggests that, I put it no stronger than that, suggests that he might have been attacked because of his work at the Integrity Commission.
That's what they believe the insinuation is suggesting.
And I think that's a fair comment as to why it's there.
And remember, the executive director of the commission, when asked in the immediate aftermath of that incident,
asked the government.
Yes, said go and ask the government.
No comment on that comment, by the way. The chairman has made no comment on that comment.
Yes. Well, Siobhan, Ricardo, this is seemingly going to be provoking more questions now than answers. Wouldn't you say?
Most definitely, because as you said, it has captivated the public interest for over the last year. I can't imagine that either the parliamentarians or the public will be satisfied with how things are left currently.
Mm-hmm. What happened to 4 of the 6? Have they been cleared, Mr. IC Commissioner? Have they?
Well, as I can said, a parliamentarian has told me the next sitting of the Integrity Commission's Oversight Committee, there will be questions that need answering.
I suppose there'll be more than questions.
And if it is, and here's why I'm leaning to the side that there may not be any individual reports on these people, because if those reports exist, why weren't they sent at the same time as this annual report?
Yes, I was under that same thinking, Ricardo, because this is the completion of their year.
Right. Right, so we'd be going into a new dispensation. Precisely. Right, so if those were done and completed, and that's why you've removed the 4, it stands to reason that you would send those reports to the Parliament for tabling.
Because isn't there a provision or a part of the report that speaks to who have been referred to for prosecution?
Yes.
And what does that section say?
It does not, at my glance, mention anything about 4 parliamentarians. It does.
So therefore, that means that they're not likely, or what I'm thinking, as a potential option.
Absolutely. Without more from the Integrity Commission, I think that's a reasonable conclusion.
Yeah, that they have been cleared.
Yes.
And there will be no prosecution of them.
And again, I have to keep going back to the section of Seymour Panton's comments, which says that the Integrity Commission cannot be held responsible, he says, for speculation, rumors, or mischief making in the society. And he did go at length to explain that, look, under normal investigative processes, allegations are made, you investigate them, and it could turn out that there was no merit to begin with to support those allegations. But he said that because of how the Act is structured, the Integrity Commission is required by law to include in its annual report any investigation which it has initiated.
That sounds like a cautionary tale to me.
Yes.
Saying, listen, we are just doing our work.
Stop running ahead of yourselves in the public discourse.
Don't blame us for the mischief, political or otherwise, that has been made of this so-called illicit 6, whatever, ghosts. Yeah. I don't know.
A nothing burger. Carlene Smith is asking, did the IC say that there were 6 persons, or the public said so? The IC said so, yes. Carlene, in their last annual report.
Parliamentarians. Yes, parliamentarians.
They said so.
Yes.
And that's how the term illicit 6 was coined.
By Nationwide. Yes, you all did it.
Which is why I said we need to settle now. Is it illicit duo?
Illicit
or
2.
Illicit duo has more poetic license to it.
A certain je ne sais quoi. Eh?
But there's also the politics of this now. Yes? What now for Mark Golding and the People's National Party, who have latched on to this as a political beating stick, yeah, of the Holness administration and the JLP?
Here's my reading of that. The damage may already have been done. The public perception may have set in that there was something there. And I don't know if in this low trust environment, the truth, though it must be said and said loudly, will have currency. That's my fear. That those who wanted to believe that there was something there may have made up their minds
already.
That in fact, yes.
Because it's been going for so
long. For so long. And it went unchallenged without comment from the Commission for so long.
And worse, the report as it stands gives some level of breathing room and maneuvering to those in the political sphere who wishes to still use this matter of illicit enrichment as a form of political attack. It does not clear anybody of the charge. It simply says the 6 have now become 2.
Right, exactly. Right. So you really haven't said anything definitive one way or the other. So the speculation may continue. But if I could say, Cliff, that speculation may now become a dangerous gamble, in that you don't know what's on the other side of it. So you may continue along this line, and then it turns out that something definitive does come. And as I said, it was all or nothing burger. Not only the illicit six business, but the matter of the Prime Minister's declaration.
But going back to the previous point you made about what may come on the other side.
Yes.
If something was coming on the other side, they would have said that 4 or whatever number have been referred to for prosecution.
One would think so. One would hope so.
But you can't.
We can't say for sure. It's a strange creature, this Integrity Commission. Its operations are strange.
I think this is going to have ramifications for the work and an already bruised public perception of the work of the Integrity Commission. Yes? Because in the absence of not commenting, yes, on the wild, consistent political processing that was going on, yeah, now to hear this, there's going to be something of a doubt, yeah, suspicion hanging over the commission.
But would that suspicion be well placed, though, based on all we know? And as we said earlier, they were simply doing what the Act mandates them to do. That people ran ahead of themselves and went wild in the public domain.
But there was nothing
Can we lay that at their feet?
There was nothing to prevent the commission from producing a special report to the Parliament to say, listen, this is the state of our investigations. Shut it down. Yeah? This is where we're
Essentially,
at.
the byword provided by Justice Seymour Panton could have been released at any point in time regarding this matter of illicit enrichment. It did not need to wait on an annual report.
But Seymour Panton takes a very strict interpretation of the so-called gag clause in the law. And he says, given the restrictions imposed by the Act, so one can assume that's why they've been so silent.
Given the restrictions do not prevent the commission from submitting to the Parliament a special report.
That's been repeatedly said, yes.
Yes.
I will just say, Cliff, once again, from a parliamentarian, I received this just a short while ago. They are deceitful, intellectually dishonest, incompetent, political, and should be forced to resign immediately.
That's from a parliamentarian.
From a parliamentarian.
The reactions are coming swiftly.
Wow.
They are deceitful, intellectually dishonest, incompetent, political, and should be forced to resign immediately.
And you can expect, and I can expect at the next sitting of the Oversight Committee, tempers will flare. Because you see, the politicians feel that they have been singled out, they are under attack, they've been hung out to dry in the public domain, and now the Integrity Commission is essentially saying, oops, let's just go on.
No, you can't just go on like that.
And it's interesting to note.
But without comment, it must be that they're suggesting
we just can't go on like that. Because so much political blood has been spilt over this matter.
And it's interesting to note, Cliff, Ricardo, that based on the Commission's own report, parliamentarians are more compliant in terms of statutory declarations and their filings than even the judiciary.
66%.
Yes.
66%. I have the numbers here. Yes. Of the 416 MPs who have submitted declarations between April 2018 and March 2024, 278, have been examined. 66%, the highest for any category.
Yes.
The MPs, they're the ones being held.
And it's because they're put under quite a bit of scrutiny.
Yeah.
And I worry that because of how this whole matter has played out, it may have inadvertently led to strengthening the perception, wrongly so, that our politicians are a corrupt class of people that we cannot trust.
It has.
And I think that damages the democracy over the long term.
Not only, let us be very clear, not only the politicians as a class, we know the Prime Minister, yes?
Has taken a battering from this.
He has bled. He has been bleeding political capital.
As we put to him yesterday.
Here and abroad. It's an embarrassment. Yes? I went overseas recently in the Eastern Caribbean and I was asked, What about Andrew's declarations? Yeah? It's embarrassing. Yeah? And now to hear that, what seems to be emerging tonight for this annual report is nothing really.
No, but I recall telling you, Mr. Hughes, that if it has taken this long, it's probably going to amount to something so mundane
and technical. Yes, you did say that.
You
maintained that.
Yes. You did. But this is not going to go down well. Yes, this is not going to go down well. Yeah. Let's take the break. After the break, your call. Stay with us, Siobhan and Ricardo. The numbers to call us, 876-630-937124 or 876-618-8255.
Cleasing Industrial Supplies Limited are authorized distributors of international brands ABB, Omron, STC, Festo, and Thomas & Betts. They supply programmable logic controllers, photoelectric and proximity sensors, contactors and soft starters, power supplies, variable frequency drives, and much more. Visit them at 24 Dunrobin Avenue, Kingston, or shop 32 Overton Plaza, 46 Union Street, Montego Bay, or visit their website, cleasling.net. Cleasing Industrial Supplies for all your industrial automation and control solutions.
So what you want? A good friend. What you want? A real good friend.
We're inseparable. We do everything together. Make memories by the score. But we've never hit the home run, been to second base, or shared crowning glory. We know each other's secrets, seen several exes, and the world keeps saying, why wouldn't you just there and done? But the response is always the same.
No, we're just friends.
No history, no mystery, no almost or nearly. Do their intimate relationships ever survive the closeness, or have they been lying about the life they live? Join me, Rodney Campbell, every Tuesday from 9 to 10:30 p.m. for Affairs of the Heart, right here on Nationwide 90 FM. This Tuesday's topic is tight friendship between sexes just a facade to cover past, present, or future? Fun.
What you want? A real good man friend.
Affairs of the Heart is brought to you by Supermed Pharmacy. Super happy, super healthy, Supermed.
ABC Electrical Sales. We make things as easy as ABC.
As we grow older, there are many challenges that we have to confront, but these years can represent the best in our lives. Coming of Age during Nationwide This Morning on Thursdays explores issues persons 50 and over confront. It also provides expert opinions on how we can improve the quality of our lives as we get older. That's Coming of Age, this and every Thursday during Nationwide This Morning at 6:51 a.m.
Thank you so much for staying with us here on Nationwide at 5. We're taking your calls now. I'm Ricardo Brooks. He's Cliff Hughes. And that one over there, that's Siobhan Campbell. 630-937124, 618-8255. Faithful.
Just before you go to Faithful,
Yes.
we're getting the reactions now. A parliamentarian has sent this to me on WhatsApp. Illicit enrichment. On page 4, under illicit enrichment heading, it is stated, quote, the Commission has no control over the complaints and allegation it receives. It must, however, investigate them and make a note of the fact of the receipt and the investigation in the annual report. And the Integrity Commission has no control over speculations, rumors, or mischief-making in the society. Here's what the parliamentarian now says. The Integrity Commission posted the following article on its website on the 18th of August 2023, titled Mysterious 6 GLP. PNP say they are not aware of any parliamentarian under probe for illicit enrichment. PM defends IC gag clause. And this parliamentarian is livid. This is still on the IC, the Integrity Commission website, as of July 9, 2024, today.
So that was a reposting of a news article.
Right. And was posted approximately 6 weeks after its annual report was tabled in Parliament, which stated that 6 parliamentarians were under investigation for illicit enrichment. And the parliamentarian now asks, why would the Integrity Commission post such an article on its website, if not to contribute to speculation, rumors, and mischief making.
I have a reaction here from a prominent comrade. It don't look like anything serious will come out of illicit 6 investigation. It's now down to 2 with a bunch of sad face emojis. Comrade goes on to say, I have issues with the Integrity Commission.
And the parliamentarian continues, if the commission was aware these investigations were based on what we are now hearing from it, were based on allegations or complaints, why did it not make that clear to the public rather than give the impression it had a solid basis on which it was investigating parliamentarians for illicit enrichment? If the Integrity Commission is aware that has stated in its report that the police receives numerous complaints and allegations of various crimes when investigated are found to be without merit, why did the Integrity Commission give the country the impression that it had more than allegations?
But I have to keep
These
asking
are fair questions.
But I have to keep asking the question, Cliff, did the Integrity Commission do that? Or was that a consequence of wild speculation? Because it really just said, that it was investigating people. It didn't say anything more than that.
We live in a democracy.
True.
Free flow of information.
Okay.
And the basis of that argument is what the commission reported.
Had put in its report.
Exactly.
And remember, Ricardo, that what compounded this issue was Mr. Christie's own retweeting of several articles that involved the illicit 6 and the Prime Minister on another matter, not the matter regarding his statutory declarations. And I believe during a joint select committee, Mr. Christie suggested that he was compelled to by his contract to do this. So I noticed he stopped doing that and he scrubbed his social media of those posts. So I'm assuming that contract has been adjusted. But you cannot. I always found that was in poor taste, and it's good to have been that concern was founded.
Yeah. Let's hear from Faithful. Faithful, good evening.
Yeah, good evening. Good evening, everyone. I'm going to repeat a comment that I made some time ago. When I say the commissioner, they willingly or unwillingly play in the hands of the opposition and play some kind of politics in terms of Mr. Gordon keeps saying that, Andrew, tell who's the illicit 6. Because I know that you know and I know. And I quote the word of KD Knight. I don't know if he was in Portland when he said that when Margot win election, he's going to tell the country who the illicit are. As if to say they know. And this why speculation keep going on and on. The commission say nothing when they could say something. Because when it please them, they say things. They mention up when Mr. Stevens was robbed. They come on and defend it, which I think they should, but at least if you know that you have a wide speculation going on in the public, and you have the power. You have the speculation going on. You said nothing. You just, in my view, you just have culpable. And when, as I quote from that for which I mentioned some time ago, when Mr. Montague, not Mr. Montague, the one from Olava,
Warmington.
When Mr. Warmington say he not give PMP council his money, the committee see it fit to come out and make a strong statement and condemn and say they're going to investigate.
Yes.
Did they under Gaga then?
No.
If they made that statement, what could prevent them from quite this wide speculation that were going on from a long time ago?
But Faithful, as someone just said to me, this report justifies the gag clause. Because imagine if they'd named these persons knowing that they only had allegations.
Exactly.
And again, remember the protests that came from certain quarters about naming them?
Yes. Exactly.
Again, someone has reminded me, you carried, Siobhan Campbell, a story posted on Nationwide website on the 16th of August 2023. Headline, NIA, name the 6 MPs under illicit enrichment probe. Founding Principal Director of NIA, Professor Trevor Monroe, says it's unreasonable for a Member of Parliament facing a probe concerning illicit enrichment to have oversight of public spending. He was reacting to information in the latest annual report, which shows that 6 parliamentarians are under investigation. Professor Monroe says the 6 should be named. What if they had named them?
Exactly, but not under that. Less than 2 weeks ago.
Listen to this.
Of individuals for privacy and for reputational damage. And where that balance has been examined in so many cases, certainly at least a dozen cases in the last few years, where individuals in public office have stepped aside voluntarily or been asked to step aside in order to facilitate an investigation or in the context of an investigation, and of course to return to their position to the extent that they are cleared. But it really is intolerable for us to, as the public, to have persons being investigated for illicit enrichment who are themselves exercising authority over the very investigated body or who are involved in the administration of public money.
Yeah. Trevor Monroe there, making the case for them to be named. Now we have this. Yes?
Less than 2 weeks ago, I heard. Less than 2 weeks ago, I look over 2 weeks. I heard Miss Archer said the Prime Minister should come out and make his declaration known and tell the public what is the problem of his declaration.
Mm-hmm.
And I keep asking myself, why are they saying that? Why are we paying it? Why do we pay the Integrity Commission? It's not for them to make declaration like this.
Mm-hmm.
And the gang have nothing to do with this, because they can make statement to the Parliament.
They were also called, some Jamaicans for justice, for the parliamentarians under IC probe to step aside.
Yes.
Not only National Integrity Action, but from Jamaicans for justice. Now we see this.
No, you can understand. You can understand why some persons say these group of persons are not.
It's political. That,
right.
And therein lies my greatest fear, because the mandate of the Integrity Commission is spot on. We need a credible, respected Integrity Commission, because we have a problem with corruption in Jamaica. We have a problem with corruption in government. We have a problem with corruption in the country. So we need an Integrity Commission. But based on what we are now learning over the last year, 2 years, with this Integrity Commission, the credibility of the organization is at serious risk, if not undermined, by its own doings.
But my greatest fear is this. If the Prime Minister come out and put out his declaration by internet or over the year we are, whatever, would it not be said that the Prime Minister is undermining the Integrity Commission, what they're supposed to do?
How?
Because it's the Integrity Commission job to do such thing.
Yes.
So why should I go ahead and make the declaration when the commission is supposed to do that?
But I wouldn't even put it in such terms. Would you believe anything the Prime Minister tell you about his own declarations?
But that's not the point.
I wouldn't. I want to hear. That is why we have an Integrity Commission.
Precisely.
All right,
Thank
Faithful.
you, Faithful.
Anthony. Good evening, Anthony.
Hey, everyone. Good evening, team. How are you guys doing?
We're good.
All right. So Cliff, and team, I had said this before, and I'm going to say this again. As a Jamaican, I have lost all confidence in the Integrity Commission. And when I heard you guys reading those numbers this evening in terms of the performance of the commission, that again justifies Mr. Warmington. Was it Mr. Warmington comment sometime that the Integrity Commission should go or something like that? I don't remember. I don't want to lie on Mr. Warmington, the goodly gentleman. But Cliff, the performance in terms of the work rate or turnover rate in terms of investigating and stuff, that those numbers are very, 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 very poor, and it just doesn't justify the money that that taxpayers are paying them.
I should say
that's one.
I should say to you, Anthony, that there is a comment by the chairman on staffing and the work that the commission has to do. He says, from time to time, reference is made to the sum of money voted by Parliament for the operations of the commission. Siobhan, how much is it again?
Yes, something like $1.9
billion, right. It needs to be stated, Seymour Panton says, that notwithstanding the budgeted amount, the fact is that the commission's staffing is not at the desired level. This understaffing, he says, is due in part to restrictions imposed by the Ministry of Finance as regards to the level at which the Commission can place an employee within the approved salary scales. Seymour Panton says, consequently, the Commission is at a disadvantage in the recruitment market. So he's suggesting here they're understaffed, they can't get the people they want because they can't place them or they can't pay them how much they need to get the right talent.
But let us be reasonable. Let us be reasonable. 40,000 declarations requiring certification in a single year is ridiculous.
Unreasonable.
10,000 is ridiculous.
Yeah.
But that is true. But if staffing is an issue, then that should be loud and clear. And I don't want to hear that now when they're coming with these reports and stuff and they have been logging. And when I say been logging, if the Prime Minister, who is the head of the country, you cannot certify his thing for over 3 years. At least that one should get some priority. So, all right, you're understaffed, but would you agree that at least that should get some authority, to make it known that okay, this is what this information that is in the public is either true or false. But when you leave it lying just like that and whatever, and come to say, oh, we're at the end or closing to the end of certifying or whatever, whichever way it's going to go. I mean, you are not helping us as taxpayers. That is just one of my points. But Cliff, what I really call about is something to do with the hurricane and JPS, Cliff. I don't remember it was you and Ricardo and I had asked I think it was when the hurricane was on the way that why we wait until the start of a hurricane season to start drain cleaning and stuff and all that, Cliff. I just came back from Jamaica yesterday, and I traveled Montego Bay down to Sav, and I go into Negril and stuff, Cliff. And I was looking at some of the JPS poles that are down and the trees that are on them and stuff and all of that. And Cliff, something jumped out at me.
Mm-hmm.
There is no maintenance from JPS in terms of clearing trees or cutting trees that are close to power lines, because if they were doing that maintenance over the period, a lot of these limbs or trees that end up on these power lines.
Well, I can tell you, sir. It is not correct to say there is no maintenance of these power lines and trees. That's not true.
Mm-hmm.
I think what would be more accurate, they have not been able to do them in an optimal way. Yes? Because I have seen them. I live in a neighborhood where I see them at work, including, as recent as a few months ago, before the start of the season. And I see them do it for the last several years. Are they doing enough? Are they being able to keep pace, as I said, in a way that is optimum? No. But it's not fair to say that they do none.
Cliff, I'm taking your point on that. But Cliff, the truth is we have not had what I would call a hurricane in Jamaica for how many years now?
Well, when was the last one?
That's direct impact.
We haven't had a direct one for some time.
I'm not even going to say a direct impact. Let's just use it the same impact as what we would have gotten from Beryl. So Beryl stay out at sea and just turn him eyes at us and whatever. And so Cliff, the point I'm trying to make, and Cliff, yes, you are in Season St. Andrew region, but the rural people can say, I'm sure they will come on now and say, they don't see.
You didn't make that qualification, though. You spoke of Jamaica.
All right, Anthony, we have other callers.
We take the point. The point is made, and I accept the point. Yes, but I don't like when we exaggerate. Yeah, it doesn't help when we exaggerate.
All right, Anthony. Carl, good evening.
Evelyn. Mr. Hughes. A political integrity commission, if anybody left here.
Don't bother with it. Don't bother with it. The integrity commission.
All right. Mr. Hughes.
The integrity commission. The integrity Carl.
The integrity commission.
Thank you very much, sir.
Remember what they did to Joseph Ibert? You remember what happened to Mike Henry?
That was the contractor general. That was the integrity commission.
All right. We all left them there today. A British citizen did call a press conference at 89 Old Hope Road and say Andrew must pack him bag and go clear his name. I wonder, a British citizen tell me last week, Sunday before the hurricane, that he was going to turn in his British citizenship. Well, we give him Monday and Tuesday. Wednesday was hurricane. We have Thursday and Friday. We don't hear nothing from the British citizen. And today we're gone. Tuesday working done now. We don't hear nothing from the British citizen. What is happening, British citizen? All I have to left with your British citizen. Anytime you hear about the FINSA documents that will be releasing, listen careful. Pretty close around. Not far from now. Not far. And Cliff, when you are come on at evening time and you call all that their name, you turn off a lot of your listeners. Because all that I look for is to see if it can get back on one good board. That's all. And every time that come on a program and I interview that.
Who are you referring to as that?
Whichever Monroe.
Professor Monroe is fine.
Listen, me, man. Good night.
Good night, Carl.
All
right, good night. Cleveland, good evening.
Hi, Carl.
You mustn't laugh with him, Cleveland, when him out of order.
Don't say no order, shoot him attack.
Lord Jesus.
And don't forget, the ambassador from America did come here and one way know about him. One way. And we take it light. But anyhow, Mr. Hughes and Ricardo, it's not only Mr. Wallace one get a beaten, The true born labor right them get a beaten along with Mr. Wallace. All of them civil society people. Lord of his mercy, me wonder sometime when he go home, if he maybe just have to turn him back to his wife.
Who?
Just me.
Who have to turn him back to his wife?
Mr. Wallace.
Oh, Lord.
Oh, Lord.
Yes, I mean, come on, Cliff and Ricardo. 24 hours a day, 48 hours. Them beat on that thing. All
they get to him.
People who have business with it.
They get to him.
Yeah.
That there's no doubt about it. They gave it to him.
And it get to us. And sometimes you can't even hold a conversation with any.
And I recall for quite a while they were announcing Mr. Golding as the clean leader.
Yes.
My leader is clean.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. Yes. Even the church, even some of the church people, them when I listen to them service sometime out on radio. You hear them mention it in a kind way.
But he hasn't been cleared, Cleveland. Bear that in mind.
Well, let me tell you something. What they can come with, we believe it them anymore. What can they come with? Because they are part of the whole thing too. Because there must be something that was said to the PMP where they have that as a song.
Yes, yes. I really don't think this can just end here.
No.
It
No.
cannot. It cannot.
No,
Yeah,
sir. No, sir.
we have to look at how this has been allowed to evolve, the inputs, the politics of it, the role of civil society, those calls about naming and removing people
yes.
from the parliament.
Yes.
Yes?
Yes. No, come on,
No.
Mr. Golden. No, don't miss no opportunity to tell them.
The parliamentarians will have to go back to the drawing board and look at the laws
and run
governing.
those people who is there.
I don't know about that. I'm
most
not
of
there
them,
say it with you.
Run them.
I'm
Can't
not there
believe
say it
nothing
with
them
you.
say. But I don't even know where they're going to find people anyhow to put there. You see? But they really give us up to Sunday night. When I come in, and we the conversation in the transport, me and my two sons were talking, and one of them, him convinced, say Mr. Holness, not putting him
declarations.
Yes. I'm have to call Mr. Son, no follow them argument, a rumor. Don't follow it.
Yes.
Say it getting even to my own children.
Yes.
Don't know what could I preach to them.
The prime minister's political stocks have fallen.
Yes.
And I think that issue of his statutory declarations, added to the illicit six issue, have cost him politically.
Yes, yes.
No doubt about it.
If they preach it 24 hours a day, sir, come on, it gets into your system, You know, and I think it's a wicked act. Wicked act to do to any human being. Trust me.
Yeah.
Oh, God.
Now that there's no illicit six, we don't know one to the four. Yeah. No word. It can't be left like that.
And because I'm use the person we're telling about, they're not clearing the public service, not clearing them line. Well, I don't know for anywhere else, but they do a lot of it is here in Sterling Castle Redis. Lot of it.
Okay, sir.
Just about even a couple of weeks there before hurricane time comes.
And you know that's the point I'm making. We tend to exaggerate these things, you know.
Yes.
Yeah. Yes. And to say that JP is not doing any maintenance alliance, that's simply not true.
Yeah. I wonder where 1 foot John going to say now. Because here in my Emily yesterday, one argument.
Oh.
About the same problem. Because I'm looking forward for that to come in.
Oh, yes. Yes.
Take care.
All right, Cleveland.
Bobby, you have 2 minutes.
Oh, Lord. Good evening, gentlemen.
Good evening.
I just wanted to give Darrell Vaz a message, ask him what he could do, but I hear the conversation with the Integrity Commission. I never get to hear it because I was at a football training with the rest of the coach from my school, so I couldn't get to listen to the radio. So I had wanted to ask you gentlemen what really transpired. But I guess I have to leave that for another time. But
you can just rewind the YouTube, man. It's there. The stream is there.
Okay, then. What I want to really say to Minister Darrell Vaz, I like how he has an energy minister putting his feet on the ground. But what I want him to do is that every time there is a natural disaster in Jamaica and the JPS equipment get damaged, the paid customers have to pay for it. And 2, paid customers have to be paying for electricity what they don't use. That is electricity that people have stolen, right? All of those things. I want Minister Darrell Vaz, I would like you to look into those things and stand up for the people of Jamaica also and see if you can use your ministerial authority and stop those things. And another thing, every minute OUR, you see, when JPS come to them, they have been granting JPS too much increase in the space of 1 year, and that is killing off paid customers. So, Minister, So, Minister Darrell Voss, please, I beg you, look on these three things for the people of Jamaica who you are defending so much, right? And I should really say to you again, sir, you are doing an excellent job. And
all right,
keep
Bobby.
it up. Thank you.
Yeah, man, thanks.
I think that's where we're going to leave it for this evening. I want to say thanks to our callers, our contributors, to our reporter, Siobhan Campbell, who came in, broke his leave to come in to do the people's work. Thank you so much, Mr. Campbell.
Yes, sir. Going back to my bed now.
Thanks to our producer, Dana Davey, and of course our technical operator, Andrew Anderson, and the members of the news and production team led by our editor this evening, Cara Powell. I'm Cliff Hughes.
And I'm Ricardo Brooks.
Reminding you, take care of your loved one and look out for your neighbor. Good night.
Good night.
Nationwide 90 FM is at it again.